Yeah,
So as I
yeah.
started to Google it, you realize like presidents went there, Carter went there, senators,
Yep.
astronauts. You start seeing like people that were Navy SEALs, and you're like, oh, the Army Navy game. That clicked for me. I was like, wait a second. So that's who's playing football, in December, which is coming up, right? And so the more I looked into it, the more intrigued I got. And so once you start to look at the admissions process, I was scared. I was like, okay, am I good enough? Do I have what it takes to actually get in?
No, no, you say you
No.
want to talk about, kind of your experience at the Naval Academy, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll put you in the quitters category, right? Like I'm gonna put you over there so one of the things I tell people, man,
Yeah.
like, dude, I don't have a lot of guys that quit at the Naval Academy
Yeah.
that are killing it. So you say, oh, you were 17 years
I
old.
was 17-year-old. I wasn't ready for like the military. I'm saying like the discipline, like
Okay, hang on, Keith, because I thought you was gonna be ready for that. Okay, so hang on. So let me ask you this, because I get kids ready to go be successful. Okay,
yeah,
we've lost one kid in 24 years now,
yeah,
25 years. Okay, we lost
yeah.
one, and it's my fault. I
You
had a
don't want to
bad
blame
feeling about.
yourself. I mean,
No, I gotta blame myself because his dad quit the Air Force Academy and his two twins quit Coast Guard and the Air Force Academy. Okay,
sounds like they had to quit. I don't know.
yeah, but the motherfucker had a 3.0, bro. And now he's hanging sheetrock. Okay, so like, yeah. But anyway, so my point is, I would assume, okay, having two educated parents
Yeah,
that both were in the military,
yeah.
did you not get any guidance? Uniform inspections,
No
warning orders.
warnings. I got my butt kicked. Yeah.
No,
I
no, no,
got
no, no. I'm saying like, did they say, okay, hey, you're gonna learn general orders of the century? Hey,
no.
we're gonna get you. So none of that.
My dad. Look, I'll give you. And rest in peace, to that guy. Big Skip, love him, man. My dad did 18 years. Got out from the Fat Boy program. My dad did 18 years. It was pretty underachieving, and I hate to admit that and say that
It is
about
what it
him.
is.
But he made E5 and didn't stop at E5. And
Okay.
I didn't realize that that was a bad thing until I got to the academy and learned all the ranks and rates. So my dad made E5, didn't want to test up to, E6, 7, whatever. Did 18 years, got put on a Fat Boy program. And his thing was like, go to the military. It'll save your life. It'll give you discipline. But his thing was like, when he went to join the military, it was the 70s. He's like, I got to boot camp, but I smoked weed every day. He's like, they tried to put me out twice. And he's like, and then I just didn't, they weren't able to put me out. So I stayed in. And my mother did the army, and she was obviously the disciplinary. She was more the disciplinary of the family. She remembered her army experience, but she was like, look, like, you need to go to the academy because you're going to get disciplined. You're going to learn how life is actually hard. Like, she's like, you've been getting treated and coddled, and you're the baby, and you're the star, and, you play your sports, and your friends love you, and these people love you. And it wasn't like, angrily and like trying to.
No. But see, so you know what's funny?
She was preparing me that way. The reality of, and she wasn't wrong, bro.
But no. So here's the deal, though. She didn't understand what kind of fucking beast she was going to fight, right?
No, she didn't.
Because if she understood the beast we were going to fight, she would have took a different approach. And I need to get this motherfucker ready for this beast. Okay, you're a vice president that murdered it, right? But for the most part, like I got a dude that left sophomore year, 3.0 GPA. He cuts grass for a living now. He's 53 years old running a lawnmower. Okay.
Wow.
I got another dude who left and went somewhere, did really good, got a good degree, and is living in Shantytown. You know what I'm saying? Like I know somebody that went to his house and was like, holy fuck. Like they saw a light in the bathroom. You know what I'm saying? They looked up in the ceiling. There's fucking. They said he had a hole in his. I was like, man.
Jeez.
So that's why, I just think like when I get my kids at the Naval Academy, I tell them, listen, man, I don't have a lot of success stories that left. I just don't. You know, like we got an Omega that left a couple years back. He's doing his thing. But it just hit differently, man. It just hit differently after you leave. So hey, let's start. Let's start. Let's
it was
get
a tough
started.
time.
Let's start. And
I
I got a couple questions for you, and then we'll get going. So
yeah, I got same for you.
All right, Keith, you a Naval Academy dude. You ain't make it. We're gonna talk about that. You
Yep.
were vice president. We're gonna talk about that a little bit.
Yep.
I appreciate you coming on. We're gonna talk about it. I want to talk about kind of the lead up, how high school, how you got to the academy.
Sure.
What was it like when you got there? I believe. Are you from Delaware? Where are you from?
Originally, yeah, Delaware, Dover.
Okay, so like unlike me, who's from Washington State, I didn't even know what the Naval Academy was. I had no idea. I didn't
Okay.
know nothing about it. So let's just start. Like, how'd you grow up? Mom, dad? What was the education system like? How were you getting ready for college and high school?
Yeah, man. So I'm originally from Dover, Delaware, born on Dover Air Force Base. My parents are New Yorkers, Bill and Phyllis. They were, my mom's from Queens, dad from Brooklyn. They met in school, and then dropped out of college and both went into the military. So dad went Air Force, mom went Army, both enlisted. Then they separated for a couple years, but landed back together got married in the 70s and then landed in Alaska. Had my brother and sister. They were up there in Fairbanks. And then my mom got out after I think 5 or 6 years, and she's always been a driven human being. And then my dad got orders to Dover Air Force Base, and that funny enough at the time, kind of same thing. He was like, I didn't know where Dover, Delaware was. He's like, I thought it was in North Carolina. So they got there in '81. I'm born the youngest of four. And so I was born on the Air Force Base. I lived there till I was 7 or 8 years old. And so, anyone that was a military kid and people that are military, whether you're military brats or just military in general, growing up as a kid in those schools, a lot of times it's mixed, right? Like
Yeah,
my
yeah,
best
yeah,
friend, first and second grade, this dude, Lance Johnson, we were best friends and we were two black guys, black kids. And so you saw the mixture, right? You saw
yeah, yeah.
everybody's green.
Yep.
My dad would always talk about that, which was great. And so, but then when I was 8 years old, we moved to a town, outside of Dover, small town, maybe like 800, 900 people in the town. It's like a drive through town, literally, 80-20 white, 20% black, not many Hispanic, not many Asian. And funny enough, in third grade, I was getting good grades, but my teacher said that I talked a lot in class. And I was a hyper kid, right? I wanted to be, friends with people and be cool and all that, but the education, the math, the science, the whatever, the reading, I was blowing through it. It was easy for me. The
Yeah.
thing was, they were giving me stuff I'd done in second grade already. I was head of my grade, and I remember my mom. I brought my report card home. She was like, "Why are you bored? Like, what do you mean you're bored? You're talking in class. You don't need to be talking in class. You need to be getting your education." I was like, "Mom, I'm doing stuff they did last year. They gave me the book. They were like, keep reading it, and you'll be fine." And so she was like, "Oh no." We're not going to have that. One of the things I really credit my mother to and like stepping up for her child, she went down to the principal's office. She was like, "Look, you're going to test my son. You're going to put him in talented and gifted classes. You're going to put him in accelerated education classes. He reads at a fifth grade level. Do what you got to do." And the principal still remembers her to this day. Every time I see the guy, if I do see him. And since then, I was from 8 years old to about 11th grade. I was the only black male in my classes.
And talented and gifted.
And well, talented and gifted, and then just in academic and
Yeah.
AP and accelerated courses, right? So
Yeah.
that set me up, right, in terms of the education piece. And my parents were both very educated. Both got master's degrees, eventually later on in life. My dad got out in like 94, 95. And then look, I grew up in a white neighborhood. I grew up with a lot of white friends who I still love and adore. These are my boys to this day. I bought into the culture. And I talk about that, and when people, maybe ask like, well, why, you got made fun of, or you this, that, and the other, or maybe you don't think you don't act black, or this, that, and the, you're very educated, you're well spoken, all that. I think culturally, I locked into what I knew. I locked into my friends. I played sports,
Yeah, bro. I
baseball. I
mean,
started
you can become where you grow up. I got a black kid from fucking Iowa, man. That dude,
right.
he the only black kid in his whole fucking him and his brother, the only two black kids from the town,
And
right?
that's crazy to me because we still
Well,
have
so
black
so I
kids.
tell people, man, like everybody, this all this DEI garbage going around, right? And so cats always say, "Oh, we got to
Yeah.
go to the HBCUs to get more black officers." I'm like, that's the worst place you can go. I said, how about you come with me up to Iowa, Wisconsin,
Yeah.
Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota? Because I'll tell you this, the black guys I find up there, they ain't gonna have a problem being the only white guy in the war room. I mean, I'm sorry, being the only
Only
black guy
black
in the
guy in the
war
war
room,
room.
right? Like,
I,
like I tell people they assimilated, right?
yeah.
And I got raised in a all white family. I'm the only black person
Oh,
in
you
my
want
family.
to, okay.
But I got raised by a drunk truck driver, right? Like my dad
Wow.
was a fucking savage. So
Wow.
Like I got raised, I got a truck driver's brain, I got a truck driver's mouth.
Yeah.
And then I have a streak that run down my back. Like I don't care. You know, you
You're
put me at the
different.
Naval Academy. It was bad, bro. It was bad.
Yeah.
And I had taken every math and science class. I didn't learn nothing new at Naval Academy until my really end of second semester when I got in Calc 3. That was the first time I had seen anything new.
Wow. And you know, it's okay. We'll take a step back real quick. 'Cause I
Yeah,
want
yeah,
to talk
yeah.
about
So okay, so
the math part.
you growing
But
up.
really quick though, let
Go
me just do
ahead.
a plug because you know you talk about and I just want and I'm not correcting you. I'm just saying you have your opinion. Talk about
Yeah,
DE&I and look HBCUs. My mother's a
yeah.
PhD at Delaware State University. She's been there for
Okay.
30 years, right? And I didn't go to an HBCU after leaving the Naval Academy. However, I know those institutions produce and get where they can be
So
because
that's not what I'm saying. That's
you're
not what
talking.
I'm
But I
saying,
just want
Keith.
I was defending it from the officer
I'm talking
perspective.
about sending people to all white war rooms, all
Fair.
white squadrons,
Correct.
all white submarines.
Yes, it's
Okay.
hard. Yeah, no question.
I'm sending them to places like I tell people, man, I've diversified the hardest environment in America. Okay.
Yeah,
I
right.
diversified the United States
Navy
Navy
SEALs.
SEAL
And I
team.
want to ask you about
Okay.
that later on too.
I crushed it, right? But the majority of those kids that went came out of them states I'm talking about.
Right.
Washington State, out of the 20 black officers that are SEALs right now, Washington State has 6 of them, I believe.
Get out of town for real.
6. If you want me to help you with your so-called diversity problems,
Sure.
the answer I'm going to give you is not the answer you think you're going to get. Okay. And so I tell people, man, like, bro, we almost hit a home run, man. We almost hit a home run, but Trump lost the election. We were supposed to get a huge grant, massive 9-figure grant. Okay.
Wow.
If we had gotten that grant, bro, because so it's like one of my big pet peeves right now is there's only 72 African American females flying in the United States military
I've heard you talk about that before.
out of
I hate that.
52,000 pilots.
Crazy.
Why? A black female doesn't look at an airplane and be like, oh my God, I'm going to fly.
Right.
Okay. Because she's never been exposed to it.
That's not
right.
correct.
Like,
correct.
And it's easy fix, right? Like I'm gonna go to Division I athletic teams across the top of the country. I'm gonna go get me some 6'4" volleyball player who's bad, who got a 3.9 GPA and whatever degree she getting.
Right.
And I'm gonna prepare her and put her in that cockpit, and she is going to murder everybody.
And crush everybody. But you're right, the exposure piece. So going back to my education, I'm surrounded by white people, had good grades, great grades, played sports, you know, and I wrestled. And you always talk about wrestling. I started wrestling in 7th grade, and I was a bitch. Like I sucked. I wasn't very good at all. I didn't know the sport. I didn't understand, you know, the savagery of it and what you have to put into it. My freshman year, I wrestled varsity as a 140 pounder, and our guy who was ranked second in the state got popped for weed or whatever. Like I don't forget what he did, but he got kicked off the team. So my coach is like, you're my new 140 pounder. So I'm out here wrestling juniors and seniors as a freshman, 2 years into wrestling, getting my ass kicked every day.
I got crushed. I got crushed as a freshman.
And you have to, and I had to learn it. And I got to our conference tournament and I lost my 2 matches. And I remember I cried. And this kid was a junior who was like, look, man, he was like, you could quit and walk away, or you can remember how you feel right now and come back next year. And I said, okay, I don't ever want to feel like this ever again. So I put in the work, right? Sophomore year, I was 50-50, 16, 17, whatever my record was. That summer, my coach was like, we're going to a camp. And I was like, all right, where are we going? He was like, the United States Naval Academy. And I will tell you that we going to Navy camp. I didn't know that it was there. I knew there was a West Point, but I didn't know there was actually like a Navy, like in Annapolis, that there was a whole school. So we went. Coach Wicks was there. He was running it.
Yeah, Reg Wicks.
It was like 98.
Shout out, hang on, we gotta send a shout out to Reg Wicks. He passed away last year.
R.I.P.
So
yeah.
wait, no, this year, beginning of this year.
Yeah,
shout out,
I
man.
saw that. Yeah,
beginning of this year.
But no, there was some dudes, man. What's this? Jeff? Is it Jeff Store? A couple guys that were like hanging out and helping out, whatever.
Yeah.
But nah, dude, it was a week. It was a camp. You know, we were in Lejeune. We were running around campus. Like, you know, I think we stayed at Ricketts. Like, it was like a cool experience. And I was like,
this dude said cool experience. Golly, bro.
Why?
Because it's crazy to me, man. Like we'll talk about it when we get closer, but like I didn't even know what I was doing, man. I didn't know I was going to the military college. Like I thought I was going to college Like I thought it
Oh,
was a normal college, like University of Washington, Washington State. Like
oh no.
I had no idea that
And
I
then
was
because
going
you
to a military
right,
institution, bro.
you didn't have that military experience. Like I said, I grew up on a base, so I'm seeing guys running around in camo and blue and
Oh no,
blue.
no, I grew up on a base too. I grew up on Fort Lewis,
Oh, that's right.
but I
Okay.
didn't understand
What you were
that
getting.
they weren't colleges. I didn't visit.
Right.
I got in my freshman year of high school to the Naval Academy,
Yeah.
and so I didn't have any frame of reference.
But what you were getting into.
I had none. Dog. I'm in Washington State. We ain't got no fucking internet. I thought it was college, bro.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I didn't know I was gonna get a uniform.
And
Yeah.
you could have went ROTC and it would have been a different.
Couldn't have went Rossi.
Why
Couldn't have went
not?
Rossi. Had 700 SAT score, my guy. 700. Couldn't go Rossi. I couldn't. I took the SAT 9 times. I cheated 2 of them. I still couldn't get. You had to have a 450 minimum on English. I
Brother.
was I was rocking
Hey,
that 200, Keith.
what?
Yeah, bro. I went Naval Academy 100% illiterate. 100%.
What? Wait, we'll get back to that one, how you got in. That's crazy to me. Nah, so look, I went to the camp and again had a great experience, but it was a wrestling camp. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was,
absolutely.
campus is beautiful, the whole thing. Oh, you're on the water, you're on Seven River. So I get back and my mom was on that Inception shit. She was like, "How'd you like it?" And I was like, "It was great. Why? What's up?" She's like, "Well, what do you think about going there?" Yeah, I think I'm gonna go to regular school. I'm gonna go to University of Delaware. I'm gonna go to, I'm gonna go to Rutgers. I'm gonna go somewhere, Penn State.
How
So
old were you? You sophomore summer going into your junior
I
year?
was a sophomore going into actually, no, I was a freshman going into my sophomore year. So I was
Okay,
15.
good. Good.
And
Good.
so she's like, look into it. And I'm like, okay, I'll look into it. And at the time, the internet was coming obviously
Yeah,
around.
yeah. Yeah,
So as I
yeah.
started to Google it, you realize like presidents went there, Carter went there, senators,
Yep.
astronauts. You start seeing like people that were Navy SEAls, and you're like, oh, the Army Navy game. That clicked for me. I was like, wait a second. So that's who's playing football, in December, which is coming up, right? And so the more I looked into it, the more intrigued I got. And so once you start to look at the admissions process, I was scared. I was like, okay, am I good enough? Do I have what it takes to actually get in? I put in my whole package, met with a blue gold officer, can't remember what his name was, but I got nominated by Joe Biden, right? I got nominated out of Delaware by him when he was a senator. And I didn't think I was going to get in. I thought either I was going to do that and then somebody
What was your GPA? So what was your GPA coming out of high school?
3.38, 3.9,
Okay, what was your SAT score?
like 12, 11,
Perfect.
11.60.
All day. All day. You're gonna get into school. You got
I
great
could run yeah,
grades.
and I could run a 6 minute mile. I did like 100
Yeah,
push-ups. I
they ain't
was,
care about that. All they care about color your skin above 1,000, above a 3.3. That's all they care.
then you go back to DE and I not to say the quotas were,
So listen, I tell you, I have the biggest complaint about the service academies. Really, and I'm gonna say this, really the Naval Academy.
okay.
Because they're so focused on academics because we have such a technical job in the Navy. Nuclear aircraft carriers,
Yeah.
airplanes,
Yeah.
ships, submarines, like all of it,
Sure.
okay? So they feel like they got to have 1,500 SAT scores.
Right.
But what you lose in the 1,500 SAT score is leadership. So if it was truly a leadership institution like it was 200 years ago or
Mm,
150 years ago,
yeah.
even 75 years ago, you would be taking a much broader swath of America, but they would all be good leaders. That's
Right.
why when people talk to me about the Naval Academy as a leadership institution, I laugh at them. I'm like 90% of the people at the Naval Academy can't lead their way out of a wet paper bag.
Well, I wouldn't say all that, but we could talk about
No,
leadership
no,
too.
it's all good. I mean, Doug, I live in it. I
Yeah.
got I got like 7 dudes there right now.
Okay.
So it ain't
Yeah,
no
no,
big deal to me.
we'll talk about leadership because it's yeah, that the leadership laboratory thing. I took stuff from it, but I'm not going to fully disagree on what you said. I just know that I didn't think I was going to get in, didn't think I was good enough. And
Yeah.
then when I did get in and got the letter, I was like, "Oh shit, now I got to go." Because I'd gotten in the pit full ride. I
You
got
felt like you had to go.
I felt like I had an obligation to go.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And telling everyone you're going to do something and saying, well, I'm applying to the Naval Academy, and then all of a sudden you get in it and you don't go. I mean, and then for someone from my school had 800 kids. And then my boy, Gleason, Mike Gleason, one of my good friends in high school, he went to the academy with me. He got in at the same year. Now we
Now,
get there.
was your mom working at Delaware State already?
Yeah,
Okay. So
yeah.
like I'm telling you, man,
She was already in
like
education. She was about that life. She was
yeah,
like,
but what I'm saying, Keith, is you had somebody helping you, right?
there.
Like when I tell you the story of how I got in the Naval Academy, I will tell you the story of how my family had a family meeting and decided to not help me at all.
Jeez.
Which is and when you hear the story, you'll be like, okay, I understand. But like to me, I'm like, fuck, man. Like,
That's terrible. Yeah.
I mean, I got a full scholarship in 8th grade.
Okay.
So their thing was like, look, man, they sat down and like, look, motherfucker got a scholarship, full scholarship to the University of Washington Engineering Department in the 8th grade. Whatever the fuck he's doing, clearly none of us have any idea what fucking planet this motherfucker's on.
What he's about,
We're
right?
we're gonna leave him the fuck alone. Like we're not
He's,
gonna influence his
he's different,
decisions at
right?
all. And then I
Wow.
turn around, pop up. That was the 7th grade, 8th grade that happened. 9th grade, I pop up Naval Academy, boom.
Yeah.
10th grade, I pop up West Point, boom. Right. So they're like, well, we're not gonna say nothing to him.
Wow.
We're not gonna do nothing.
And so,
So
and I guess, well, real quick for your story, you were getting recruited. Was this sports?
nope.
How, and well, okay. And I
So
must
I
have been,
won. So I won the University of Washington Science Fair 2 years in a row, and I
wow.
beat everybody. So
Wow.
there was an engineering competition. You built a mousetrap card, right?
Okay.
I had a hack. I figured out a hack. The
Okay.
hack that if they were playing with zero point 0.5 horsepower, I was playing with 2 horsepower. Okay. And so I built my car. I fucking engineered it. My dad was an engineer. He had straight A's at the University of Washington and decided to drop out his senior year. And so we built a ton of shit around my house. We had a water wheel that I just took out 2 years ago. It pumped water for 40 years
That's great. Okay.
because he didn't want to pay for water. Like he had pumped to a water tank. That's how we watered our yard. So but yeah, man, I won the University of Washington Science
That's
Fair, and I
different.
remember my 8th grade year, man, I crushed everybody, bro. I crushed all the high school scene. I crushed the whole high school division.
Wow.
Like they were running like 80 feet. Mine was running 140.
Were you like one of the only mixed black kids running around,
Oh
or
fuck yeah, dog! I tell the story. My dog, this is hilarious, bro. So just imagine University of Washington. Give me the demographic of kids competing in the science fair. Just give
oh,
me the like
oh,
we're in
you
Washington State.
Washington State, you're looking at what, 70% white,
Yep.
30%, 28% Asian,
Yep.
1% Native American, and
Yeah, yeah,
0.5% black
absolutely. So I don't know if I saw another black person there.
at
Okay.
all.
Now I'm
Right,
sure there was some,
right,
right?
right.
But in my competition, that shit was all, for the most part, mostly Asians and
Yeah,
whites, right? Like
yeah.
there was no other minorities, and there was a couple females, right? So
Wow.
my 8th grade year, it was my 9th grade year. All my homeboys showed up, bro. Like, and so we are a smattering, right?
Okay.
Korean and black, Korean and white, white and black, Japanese and black,
Mix. Yeah.
three blacks,
The
all
rainbow.
blacks.
Right.
Yeah, bro. The whole this army base, right? Fort Lewis, Washington. So,
Gotcha. Okay.
but these dudes up in there shit talking everybody. He's gonna get you. He fixing the kid, bruh. Everybody up in here like this shaking and shit. I
Got
mowed
these white
town,
people
right?
scared.
Yeah. But after my 8th grade year, man, the dean of the engineering department awarded me a full scholarship.
Amazing. Wow. And
And
you
so
didn't
then I
did you even know what to do with that? You were like, what do I even what do you mean? And you're
So
like,
my dad, just like my kids, man. My dad had been telling me since 3rd grade, every day he would say, "Hey, man, listen, we fucking broke.
you
You
got
got
your
to
full
find a way to pay for
scholarship.
college.
That's what my parents said. Yeah.
Got to find a way to pay for college, bro."
Yep.
And so for me, we grew these crystals. They're called copper beryllium crystals. There's big blue ass crystals. You put a little seed crystal in a jar on a fucking piece of string, and then
Yeah,
the
and then
crystal
like
grows around it, right?
crystallized. Okay.
So
Yep.
we took our crystals to this fucking deal to the science fair, my 6th grade year, and I won the sixth science kid of the year in the school, in my little middle school in 6th grade. So
Wow.
we go up there, and I was so mad I lost, bro. I was like, first of all, this is the dumbest fucking thing in the world. Blue, just all you did was change the water every day. I
Blue,
was like, this is stupid.
like blue
So
crystal. Right.
yes, I went up to my dude, to the science, Mr. Schultz, the science teacher, who's awesome. I said, hey man, uh, you got a book for this competition, the science fair thing? I know there's some
Yeah.
other events. He's like, hang on, man. He goes to his desk, he pulls out this book, right? There was like, I don't know, 16 different competitions. There's computer coding competition, there's all this stuff. So I'm flipping through the book. And I get to the
Science fair.
mousetrap car competition. I
Yeah.
said, this is what we're gonna do. So I went up to the office, photocopied the page and the rules. And then that was like, I want to say that went down like the end of the winter, like in the early part of the winter, like
Yeah.
maybe November, December. Dog, as soon as I got home that day, I sat down at my desk,
Got to work.
put my engineering brain to work. Okay, what I was building model airplanes and stuff like that. I said, okay. I bought me a whole box of mouse traps. And I came home. I tinkered around for maybe a week. Then I had an epiphany. And then I was like, okay, we're gonna do it this way. I made the thing, and the rest is
Yeah, you
history.
had a hack. How are you
Yeah.
so terrible at the SATs then? If you had this engineering mind that you could,
So I tell people, and this is I don't want to make it about me, Keith, but like so first grade, my teacher got pregnant, Mrs. Wyrick took over. Second grade, my teacher got pregnant, Mrs. Wyrick took over. Third grade, Mrs. Wyrick was a third grade teacher, so I had Mrs. Wyrick. Okay.
okay,
Much like yourself, I was very disruptive. So my dad brought a refrigerator box and put me in a refrigerator box in the very back of class. I had a little flip up window, had this little flip up window in the cardboard box. So I sat in the
ah,
cardboard box. But anytime we had a spelling test or anything like that, I
comparison.
just get my book out because I'm in a
Yeah,
box. Ain't nobody can see me.
right.
So for 3 years,
You didn't
when
read.
I didn't do nothing, read shit. I couldn't read. So my third grade year, we had the state testing. I scored a 0.
Jeez,
And they told him I was gonna have to get held back a year. But my mom and my dad were like, no, that ain't gonna happen. We'll get it fixed over the summer. He'll retest at the end of the summer.
yeah.
So we have a reading specialist in our family, Bill Miller. He passed away. And I spent third grade summer is awful. I spent 8 hours a day. My mom would drop me off at 8 when she went to work, and she picked me back up at 5. And I spent 8 hours a day
Learning to
with
read.
Bill Miller holding up flashcards. I got a box. I'll find them. I got the box of flashcards. But
That's
cats be
nuts,
like, "Oh
man.
no, A was on the flashcard." I remember A and the because they were in there more than once. Not not like through, not a 4 or 5 letter word, three
Right.
letter words. And I can remember the first month, like I was struggling. Like I was struggling with simple like and the and like so anyway, needs to say 8 hours a day for two and a
Crazy.
half months straight. I managed to pass the test, and that was kind of the last test we took.
Okay.
And so then I just focused on math and science because I mean, dude, I was killing math and science,
So
bro. Like
yeah, I was gonna say
that
so.
was my jam.
Reading writing was tough. No, I mean, my dad, and it's interesting. And I had a ex Goldman guy tell me this. He's like at a hedge fund now, but we met and he's a brother, and we talked about our dads and their influence. And so my dad was a big Jeopardy guy. And like, when I was a little boy, like when I used to tell people, like people for your podcast or younger people, Encyclopedia Britannicas, right? You had to do
Yeah,
these to
yeah.
come through and sell the
Yep.
encyclopedias to your family. We had like 8 versions of this thing. So my dad could sense the spark in me of like being curious. And so we'd be watching Jeopardy, question come on, and I'm like, oh, what's that? And I'm like, Dad, what's that? He was asking a question. And he's like, he's like, you know how many encyclopedias we got downstairs? Why don't you go downstairs and take that question and find out and figure it out? And I'd go downstairs to the family room, pull out Encyclopedia A, C, whatever it was, find what I was looking for, and then all of a sudden a question would come in. And I'd be like, well, what about this? And I'd grab another encyclopedia. And my dad would come downstairs like 4 hours later, and I'd have 8 encyclopedias opened up. I'd be like, Dad, did you know this, and the other? You could know elephants could do that? Did you know that? And he was like, all right, great, but go to bed. But as I got older, he was like, yeah, he was always reading them encyclopedias. He was like, I knew you were going to be just fine, right? So, he sparked that. And he was like, you want to make sure that you continue to read that, keep doing it, be educated, right? Be educated because that really is a key to your success and it's a key to not letting people walk all over you. But I say
100%.
all that to say, go ahead.
No. I agree with you 100%. Like my kids, like I cried. I bought every fucking reading thing in the world for my first kid. Like
Yeah,
if you had it, I bought it, right?
right.
And one day my wife came in, made me cry and shit. And she was like, "Hey," she said, "don't worry. Your kid's gonna know how to fucking read."
They're going to be fine. Right.
You know what I'm saying? And like
Yeah.
I was sitting there, I was so fucking scared. because I
Yeah.
didn't want to raise my kids,
Yeah,
and
man. I
it was
get you.
fucking crazy, bro. But she got a
God is good,
master's
brother.
degree. She's like,
Yeah.
we both got fucking master's degrees. Your
Right.
kids are gonna know how to read, Jake. And I was like, but like, I
That's a
think
trauma.
back,
It's a crazy. That's a trauma, right? That you had.
trauma, bro, trauma.
Oof.
But here's the crazy part, right? We read with our kids all the time. Like,
Yeah.
like every night we reading. And I'm like, I think back to my parents, right? And I got my mom, I mean, not one time, bro. Not one
Not
time
one
did they say,
time.
hey, man, let's
Yeah.
read,
That's tough. Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, it's
Look,
hard, bro. So
it's
yeah, but I
trauma.
got, so when I got to the SAT, bro,
You were like, you were like, what's a simile? What's a? You're like,
oh,
what's a?
dog, no. Like, what's wrong with this sentence? You know how
Uh,
you had sentence correction? I'd be
yeah.
like, man, this sentence is great. Fuck, I don't know.
I got no idea. I'm sorry.
No
I don't mean to
idea.
laugh, but that's tough.
No, I mean, it's real, bro. I tell people,
But
but like,
it's
but
real
here's the
because, but
deal.
also real because you slipped through the cracks. You got to remember that too, to where
But he,
somebody didn't stop and go, "Hey, man,
they tried.
okay,
They tried.
okay,
But I'm a fucking dude now.
yeah,
And I'm
yeah,
not I'm not scared of grown people.
right,
So
right, right."
I was a
You push
state
back.
champion wrestler. Like
Nice.
like they tried. Like they tried to get me my senior year of high school. I didn't go to English class my senior year of high school because the
Jeez.
English teacher was this old dude. He was condescending,
Yeah.
right?
You're like,
And
I ain't
so
fucking
I'll
with
tell
it.
you this: I went to Charles Wright High School in Washington State. It was the number 2 high school in the country at the time. Okay,
Wow.
when I tell you they putting out world class high school kids, world class. Okay.
Wow.
They're able to write, like they've already mastered writing when they get to high school. Like it is
Yeah.
a phenomenal school district
Yeah.
for rich kids. Like that's
Okay.
exactly what for rich kids. It was $14,000 a year in 1988. Okay.
Wow.
So those cats, right? I'm in class.
They're
They
different.
laughing at me. So I got up. I said, deuces, I'm
I
out.
gotta deal with this. Right.
I never
Right.
went back.
Right.
Okay. And
Right.
so I'll never forget it, man. We had graduation, high school graduation, right? And here he come. He's like, I just want you to know, you didn't graduate from my class.
Oh,
I was gonna give you an F.
oh my God.
And I was like, oh, okay, what happened? He's like, they made me give you a C. They said we don't want him to come back next year. And I said, you know what, buddy? Fuck you.
Have a good one,
And
man.
the old man was like, what? So
Yo,
you heard
I'm
what I fucking said.
graduating. Right.
I said, you talk shit to me the first day of class. You were talking down to me. You were laughing at me because I couldn't read. I said, but I know this. If I want to beat your fucking ass right now, old man, bro, like, no, because here was my deal. Like, don't ever talk down to me, man.
Yeah.
And don't
Yeah.
ever condescend me. I had already won a state championship, right?
Yeah,
Like,
you
I
was
won
in
a state
that.
champion
You
in
was in those.
wrestling. Like, nah, bro, you ain't getting. But when I got to prep school, the prep school English teacher wrote a letter to the Naval Academy, said I was 100% illiterate. But I started on the football team. I lost one match in wrestling, and I had great grades.
And they were like, we're gonna need this. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what? You gave him a
They'll make
D
a
in
way.
English. You,
Yeah.
you gave him a D in English, but he got A's in calculus, chemistry, and physics, and computer science. Oh, you know what? Hey, we let us worry about that up here. So,
That's
and then
crazy.
I hacked the system when I got to Naval Academy big time.
Yeah.
I only took reading and writing classes in the summer. I took 2 summer schools every summer,
Wow.
and I only had reading and writing classes. I still got a 10 on my first paper, but then shout out to Dean Castillo, class of 95, test pilot for American Airlines, because he
Yeah.
wrote every one of my papers
Your boy,
at the Naval.
your boy had you. That's funny, man.
Dog, he was the punter on the football team, man. I was crying, bro. I was sitting in my locker bawling, bro. I got a 10 on the paper. So
Oh.
it was kind of crazy.
Oh, you
man.
meant 10 out of 100. I thought you was like a
10 out of
10.
100. No, 10 out of 100, bro. So
Nah.
it was, the academy, man. You went there, bro.
I
So
know. Yeah, it's tough.
I went to prep school for you. I chose to go to prep school. I got in direct and chose to go to prep school because I was terrified about the reading.
Yeah.
So we wrote every paper at prep school that you write the first semester. So I got a B in English the first semester, but I didn't write any of the papers, right? They were already written for me the year before.
Right.
So that next semester, I went into English 101. I took trucker's English first, and then I went into English 101.
Yeah.
First paper, I got a 10, bro.
Dude.
I was in my locker, like crying. I didn't know what the fuck I was
You're
going
gonna
to
put
do.
me
And
out.
then
Yeah.
Dean was like, hey, you write some thoughts on a piece of paper, come by my room, and I'll tighten it up.
And it's like 35 years later, you can speak to that. And, I don't know if you would even.
But see, here's the
care.
deal, Keith. Here's the
What?
deal. No. I'll tell you, like, dude, I'm going to find a way to win, man. Like that's because when I tell you what I did for the GMAT, you're gonna be like, God damn.
What?
Okay. Like we'll get to that when we talk about you going to school. But when
Yeah,
I tell you what I did on the GMAT, cats are like, what? I'm like, oh yeah. Like I don't take L's. Like I don't
that's
care.
crazy to me. The
Yeah.
thing was is that and not to say, look, people will cheat. That wasn't in me really, and I
So here's
know.
what I'm gonna say. I ain't cheat one time at the Naval Academy.
Okay,
Now, what I did do, well, I guess if having somebody write your papers is cheating, then yeah, I cheated. Okay, yeah, I cheated.
I'm
Okay,
like, I'm like, yeah,
but I'm here to tell you this now. When MOs, they put me in like my sophomore year, first semester, they put me in all the worst teachers. I think they were trying to set me up. Like I think
yeah,
they were.
that might have been the case.
So
Yeah,
I have four of the worst teachers. The guys that like hacksaw calculus dude, right? Like physics dude. I had them all. So I went to my advisor. I said, I got to change my schedule, man. I'm gonna fail
yeah,
out of school.
yeah.
He's like, no, you'll be okay. I said, okay, cool.
Well, they'll tell you that. Yeah,
So then I just went to the wrong schedule for 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Every day I went to the wrong. I made my own schedule. I went to my own schedule. Teachers, I took a test. The teacher's like, yo, Jake, you can't do this. You're not in my class. So no, I am in this class. Like this, it's on my schedule. I made a schedule on the computer and printed it out. I'd show it to him. Hey man, here it is right here. But what are you talking about? So then I walked into like, I don't even know what class it was, man. And the teacher was like, hey, you got to go
he's
see your
at the
academic.
academy, by the way.
Absolutely. Sophomore year in Naval Academy. He said,
Crazy.
you got to go see your academic advisor. My academic advisor, Commander Williams, was awesome. He's the head golf coach down at Bridgewater. He was awesome. Computer science dude, just cool as shit, right? Just
Yeah,
awesome dude. So I walk in, he's like,
look, man.
he said, you did it anyway, didn't you?
Right.
I said, hey, sir, I got to do what I got to do, man. I said, I don't have the brain power to mess around with them four killers. He said, then he smiled. He said, take this over to registrars, please. So he handed me the like add change form, right?
Yeah.
Fuck, it was a schedule I was going to.
Took care of you. Yeah.
Yep. So I went over, signed it over, and my
And
roommate was pissed because he got an F in calculus that year because he was in the first class I was in.
dog, I struggled. I had Calc 1, 2, and 3 at Navy. By the time I got to Calc 2, I was like, this is different. And I had AP Calc my senior year of high school. But let me take a step back, right?
Go
So look,
ahead.
I'm back in high school, and it's funny you were talking about your high school experience. I was all America boy. Like I was the token black kid. I had all white friends. I was kind of dating white girls, like whatever. Like that was my mantra. I
That's
didn't.
where you at, bro. You
That's
fucking
where
did
I was
well in the
at.
environment you were in.
And I get into the academy, but like my junior year, I'm wrestling. I find that anger, I find that switch. I was telling my boy last night, like, and my one friend was like, "Yo, like when you're wrestling, like he's like, do you want to win or lose?" And I was like, "I just don't want to lose." He was like, "Look, man," he's like, "Act like this dude killed your family." And I'm like, "Well, that's a little sick."
Yeah.
And he was
That's
like,
it.
he
That's
was like,
it.
he's a white dude too in a trailer,
That's
right?
it,
Shout out
bro.
Mike McCullum. But he's
I
like,
tried to kill
he
everybody,
was like,
dude.
look, man, he was like, if somebody tried to take out your mom, what are you doing? And I'm like, bro, like, I don't even know what that feel. What are you talking about? He was like, think about it and then go wrestle your next dude. So I was out there trying to murder people. Like I was
Hmm.
literally just hurt because you're hurt inside of that and you're angry and it was rage. And I tell people like the rage that I had to get to go out on a mat and start kicking people's asses. And then I'd go in the bathroom and cry. I'd go right. I'd get my stuff. My coach would be like, hell yeah, smack me on the ass, back of the head, and I'd walk and like high five people and walk right
Man, you
into the locker room,
got
walk
you
right
were
into the
made for that
locker room,
life, Keith.
and
You
just be
were made
like,
for that life.
I'm like, crying my eyes out. But it made me who I was, right? Toughened me up. I was a state place winner in Delaware. I was ranked third in the state at 171, made it to the state semifinals, lost by two, lost in the wrestle back. So like I got fifth 2 years in a row. So when I get to the academy, I wasn't recruited, not for sports. I just got in and I went straight out of high school. And this is where the part, Jake, where it's like, I wasn't ready for that shit. Like I was a
Okay.
17.
So you were 17 years old.
I was 17 year old. I wasn't ready for like the military. I'm saying like the discipline. Like
Okay, hang on, Keith. Hang on, Keith, because I thought you was gonna be ready for that. Okay, so hang on. So let me ask you this, because I get kids ready to go be successful. Okay,
yeah,
we've lost one kid in 24 years now,
yeah,
25 years. Okay, we
yeah.
lost one. And it's my fault. I had a
Don't
bad
blame
feeling
yourself.
about.
I mean,
No, I gotta blame myself because his dad quit the Air Force Academy and his two twins quit Coast Guard and Air Force Academy. Okay, so
sounds like they had to quit. I don't know.
yeah, but the motherfucker had a 3.0, bro. Now he's hanging sheetrock. Okay, so like, yeah. But anyway, so my point is, I would assume, okay, having two educated parents
Yeah,
that both were in the military,
yeah.
did you not get any guidance? Uniform inspections,
No
warning orders.
warnings. I got my butt kicked. Yeah.
No. I'm saying like did they say, okay, hey, you're gonna learn general orders of the century? Hey, we're gonna get so none of that.
My dad, look, I'll give you, and rest in peace, that guy, big skip, love him, man. My dad did 18 years, got out from the pathway program. My dad did 18 years, it was pretty underachieving. I hate to admit that and say that,
What it is.
but he made E5 and didn't stop at E5. Okay. And I didn't realize that was a bad thing until I got to the academy and learned all the ranks and rates. So my dad made E5, didn't want to test up to, E6, 7, whatever, did 18 years, got put on a pathway program. And his thing was like, go to the military, it'll save your life, it'll give you discipline. But his thing was like, when he went to the military, it was the 70s. He's like, I got to boot camp, I smoked weed every day. He's like, they tried to put me out twice. He's like, and then I just didn't, they weren't able to put me out. So I stayed in. And my mother did the army, and she was obviously the disciplinary. She was more the disciplinary of the family. She remembered her army experience, but she was like, look, like, you need to go to the academy because you're going to get disciplined. You're going to learn how life is actually hard. She's like, you've been getting treated and coddled, and you're the baby, and you're the star, and you play your sports, your friends love you, and these people love you. And it wasn't like angrily and like trying to.
No. But so you know what's funny?
She was preparing me that way. The reality of it, and she wasn't wrong, bro.
Wait, no. So here's the deal, though. She didn't understand what kind of fucking beast she was going to fight, right?
No, she didn't.
Because if she understood the beast she was going to fight, she would have took a different approach. And I need to get this motherfucker ready for this beast.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's what I tell people, right?
Like, I was a kid, man.
I got lucky. That I didn't get kicked out 25 times at the Naval Academy. Nope. Not one or two. I got lucky 25 times.
And technically, Jake, I got put out. So I'll tell you.
That's okay. That's okay. We'll talk about it, bro. Yeah. I mean, I don't really give a shit, bro. It comes back to Keith.
I resigned, but yeah, we'll talk about it.
It comes back to Keith, like you got there almost the same way I got there.
Sure.
I was in shock the first day. I sat in my room for 4 hours, had to make a decision. The dude came, saw me, said, you can go home or you can fucking come out here and join this party. 4 hours later, I said, man, I got a pot to piss in, man. I got to go out there. I didn't acclimate. I'm going to tell you this. I didn't acclimate to the Naval Academy until the end of my sophomore year. 3 full years into the military.
Yep.
And even then, I struggled. Now, I crushed it when I got to the fleet. Like, I fucking murdered everything, okay? Yeah. But I realized then, like, that was the military that I wanted to be in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I got little, I say this, man. I had a little second-class dude who was a complete bitch, and he would just yell at all of us freshmen, right? And I remember one day I looked at him, and I just said, and he jumped back and ran away.
Dude.
And then they came to me, and it was the football players in the company. They said, listen, Jake.
Listen, man. You can't be
we know you're about to beat his ass, okay? Right. But he's going to win if you do. You're going to get in restriction. You're going to probably get kicked out.
You're done, dog.
I said, listen, man, that dude yelling at me, he yelling at me at the top of his lungs. I just want him to know that I'll take his life from him. And then, there's a bunch of football players in the Naval Academy. Gravy. Shout out to Dave Anderson, all my firsties, right? Like, they were like,
dude.
But they knew it. I'm playing football, bro.
You a killer, bro.
I'm 5'7", like 220-pound nose guard, bro. So they knew what they had on their hands. Like, they had been in football practice with me. Like, I smashed it. I smashed the dude in football practice.
Right.
So it just, but like, it's just amazing to me because she thought she was sending you for a challenge.
She did. And I know that I think she also she knew the prestige, right? She knew what it meant. She knew a different life. And it's not wrong to think that, because that is the truth. You go to the 4-year school, you go to the academies, West Point Army, Air Force, you do your 5 years in service, you're kind of set, or at least you should be. Like, you should be getting out and be able to go GI Bill, MBA, you could pick your industry, finance, engineering, flight, whatever you did, you should be able to do that, right? And I think she saw that, and I knew, man, like the night before I-Day, I was like, all right, you got 9 years, dude. Like, get your 9 years in, get it done, whatever.
Oh, dog, you was looking at it like 9 years?
Yep. I knew, yeah, right.
Bro, like so it's
I should have been doing 1 day at a time, but I couldn't.
One day at a time, bro. Yeah. Like, so one of my mantras, so I got a bunch of kids, man. I probably got 150 service academy graduates.
Love
legitimately, that. maybe 200.
That you've coached up.
That I started from sophomore year. Like, I got a Vietnamese 16-year-old female right now with a 1500 SAT score, perfect math, 700 English. She's gonna be a Rhodes Scholar.
Love it.
She's a rock star. So I get them. If I get them early, it's easy. But I got a bunch of them, right? And the one thing I tell them is, listen, nothing is gonna be fun about this experience. Not a single thing. Okay. So when you call me and you bitching about this, that, or the other, just remember what I told you. This place sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks. It sucks. It sucks. It's gonna suck. Every day is gonna suck. There's gonna be days you don't want to get up. It's gonna suck. Okay. I said, so don't for a minute think you're gonna have any fun. And if you happen to have some fun, enjoy it. But just understand it's gonna suck
Don't let it
tomorrow.
go too far.
Right. And the reason I do that though, Keith, is because a lot of times we all know freshman year people are gonna struggle. Okay. And I want them to understand that when they call me bitching about rates or getting up early or having morning PT,
Dude.
what I tell you? You said it was gonna suck. Does it suck? Yeah, it sucks really bad.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. But it's that whole framework, right? Like it's the whole framework of getting Keith to be successful when he goes to the Naval Academy. Thinking about it as a 9-year deal, you're like, golly.
That's exactly how I looked at it. And I also was like, all right, like I'm hyping myself up, kind of like I'm built for this, whatever. My mom drops me off at is it King Hall? What's not King Hall? That's the
yeah.
Well,
King Hall?
Alumni Hall.
Alumni Hall.
Alumni Hall, 6 o'clock in the morning,
Yep.
June 29, 2001. She's like, I love you. You got this. I'll see you later at the parade or whatever you got, when you get out. I walk up to this desk. Dude's in whites. He's a second class. And he's like, last name. I'm like, Collins. And he's like, first name, like Keith. And he's like, Keith Collins. He finds a little envelope. He's like, this is your alpha code. Is your identity for the next 4 years. First and last words out of your mouth will be sir or ma'am from this point on. Do you understand? I was like, yeah, I got it. He's like, the first and last words out of your mouth from this point on will be sir or ma'am. Do you understand? And I was like, sir, yes, sir. And he was like, good, step to the left. From that second, I was like, I'm fucked. I was like, this is this is what I signed up for. I didn't.
Oh my God, bro. What? So like you already had like dread, right? So Doc, you want to know what happened to me, Keith? Okay, same situation, right? We're up at prep school.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. People getting yelled at, right?
Connecticut, right? Was it Groton? I can't remember.
Rhode Island, Newport.
Rhode Island.
I can't find my room. I grab a second class. Yeah. Take me to my room. Okay. Takes my car, gets my room, boom, take me down to my room. I take off my clothes, I get in bed, make my bed. I'm at wrestling camp, bro. That's where I thought I was at. Okay. They come into my room because they saw me go in there and I threatened to kill him.
You down.
Dog, I told him, I said, get the fuck out of my room. I'll beat your fucking ass. Huh? You know, little midshipman, bro. You know, they gone. Okay. Bro. Came back in my room with 7 of them. I jumped out of my bed in my underwear, fucking just grabbed the first dude, threw him, like just rage, right? Them dudes ran out of my room. Okay. Next thing I knew, knock on the door.
MP,
can I come in? Sure. So in come the ice cream man. Ice cream man come in my room, sit across me. He said, hey, midshipman candidate Zweig, what's going on? I said, listen, man, I'm tired, bro. I just came out here from Washington State. It was an 18-hour flight, three layovers. I slept on the gym floor last night with the football team. I'm tired. I need a nap. He said, He said, do you know where you're at? I said, yeah, I'm in Newport, Rhode Island. He said, do you know where you in school at? I said, Naval Academy Prep School.
Okay.
Getting ready to go to college. He's like, He said, how'd you get here? So I told him how I got this story. He said, that makes a lot of sense. Okay. He said, well, hate to tell you this, but you joined the military this morning when you swore in.
Right.
I said, what? I said, no, I'm going to college for 5 years. He said, nope. You in the military right now. You join the military, and you got 2 choices. This is what I was telling you. I was sitting on the bed making a decision, right? When you come out that door, you're either going to ask for Lieutenant Brown, okay, or you're going to get in line with everybody else. And so I was in my room for 4 hours, and
that's crazy.
This was one of the biggest thoughts I had in my head because it was between Naval Academy and West Point, right?
Yeah.
Well, damn, if the Naval Academy like this,
West Point
got to be the same thing. Shit, like I can't get my scholarship. It was August 7th, 1990, right? Like I couldn't get my scholarship to the University of Washington back. Like I probably could have got it the next year, but like a
year later, right?
You ain't going home to Bob Donham's house with no like what happened? Oh yeah, it was a military school. No, that ain't. But your reaction was like, oh man, I'm fucked. Dog, my reaction when I stepped out that door, I'm like, let's get it on. Oh, bruh, I didn't know anything.
Wow.
And so when these little dudes would come up to me yelling, ah! And so everybody was like, my boy Mark Williamson. Dog, at one point, I
Wait,
had a mirror.
Major Williamson, Marine Corps?
Mark Williamson, class of 95. He was a lieutenant in the Navy. At one
Okay.
point, I was carrying around a mirror. Like the first day I had a mirror for most of the day. I would carry the mirror around to look at myself. And then when I started laughing, like I just had a mirror in front of me because they would be yelling at me. The story I like to tell at Naps, bro. Like, dog, I didn't
Naps was
care.
different. Y'all
I
Naps dude was
didn't.
different.
Well, Keith, I didn't care. I didn't care when I got the Naval Academy. I tried to do good for 2 days, and then everything caught up to me, and I was just like, yeah, whatever. I don't care what you say, man.
Man, you had a different time, bro.
Yeah,
Because
but I was just different, bro.
I yeah,
Like
but
you're not gonna affect me.
the thing was like I thought I was different too, and I was there was the shock of that first day, and then you going through Plebe Summer, and I would ask dumb questions, and like I wasn't trying to be a jokester. I was immature. I didn't know, bro.
You
And
were you in shape? Like
oh,
you
it
were
was
in
great
shape?
shape. Yeah, I mean,
Okay. Yeah,
I
yeah.
walked in at 5'11", 190, and I walked
Mm-hmm.
out of boot camp at 5'11", 185. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
my body fat went from 11% to like 4.5%. So I was shredded.
Doing good.
So I was a PT, whatever. But where I really messed up was like trying to be funny, trying to flirt, do all this kind of stuff, whatever. And that got me in trouble. I got in trouble August of 2001. So I'm sitting
Wait,
there.
in Plebe Summer? How you get in trouble, Plebe Summer?
Man, we're on your podcast. I could talk about it later. I don't want to go
Never mind. Never
details.
mind. Never
Said the
mind.
wrong thing to the wrong person. Let's say
Oh,
that.
I did that every day, bro.
Wink,
Every
wink.
day.
But said the wrong thing to the wrong person. I end up in a lieutenant's office. They're like, you can't say these kinds of things here. You can't speak like that. Do you know where you are? You're at the Naval Academy. This is the military now. And like that, major conduct violation. I went to go see Colonel John Allen on September 7th, 2001. I hadn't even barely started class yet. I'm in my whites getting dressed down by an '06. This dude, and he was a great man, great officer, but he was dressed. He was like, "What are you doing at my school? How did you get here? Read me your statement, and we're gonna figure this out." I had my boy from high school just got there 3 months earlier, talking about, "This is my friend. He's a good guy. Please don't." Company officer being a character witness, and
Mm,
I'm like, am I
mm,
going to jail? Like, what did I do wrong?
mm.
And it was all like literally said the wrong kind of thing to the wrong person. And now I'm on 60 days. I'm on 60 days restriction. You
Hey,
got
bro, your little 60 ain't got nothing on the 297 I did, bro.
well, no, you're saying 60. I ended up doing
297 days, bro.
I don't know how you did 297 days. I did 180. I think I did 180. So I did 360s before I ended up.
You had 180.
I did total 180 like aggregate before I ended up leaving.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So look, I show up to restriction muster. This first, he's like, "What are you doing here?" And I'm like, "Bruh, like this is what happened." He's like, "Well, look, we're gonna take you under our wing." And those dudes, like the restriction guys, they were all, they were grease balls. They were idiots. They're like, "Oh, these are the fun people," and that's
Yeah,
who I.
yeah.
So I guess really quickly, like my dad's personality, like that's kind of who he was, right?
Gotcha.
Fun-loving dude, loved everybody, had his drinking stuff. He partied. That's who he was. I kind of had that personality too, but I was like being managed kind of by my mother. So it's like I was now free. Oh, well, now I see these degenerates. I kind of want to be like that. And
Okay.
so put on restriction. Dude, 9/11 happens 4 days later. Then the mindset shifts of, well, no, now we're going to war. And so y'all done beat me over the head. I just turned 18. Then you're gonna tell me like, okay, now we're gonna go to war somewhere, shock and all, and by the time we graduate, this thing is gonna be full blown, which it was in
Absolutely.
'05. And
Rolling.
so you're like, and then I show up to wrestling, and these dudes are all, state champs. And like my boy, shout out to a bunch of dudes, man. Like Thayer Paxton, Pat Luganich, like a couple of dudes. Jimmy Letchford used to kick my ass every day. He became a Marine. Like these guys were savages as well. And I loved it. Bruce Burnett was the coach at the time, and he coached the Olympics. So I was like, dude, and that was my outlet. Let me compete. Let me
Yeah,
just try,
yeah. That's a
get
hard compete though, bro. I tell
hard,
you,
hard
you want to
compete.
have bad grades and bad life, go wrestle at the Naval Academy. Like
Oh,
it don't
true.
get no worse than, and maybe baseball. My
Two a
roommate was in
days. Yeah, it was
baseball,
struggle. It was struggle.
but the hard work you put in wrestling just to be okay at the Naval Academy with no
Yeah.
food. Like I tell the story, man. At the University of Illinois, them kids didn't have class during wrestling season.
What?
They would take all their class in the summer.
That's
Take their two
crazy.
semesters. They have to. They basically didn't take class during wrestling season,
And
right?
just rip
Like
it. You get all that freedom. I mean, yeah, of course you're training and you're busting your butt, but like you ain't got to worry about class either, or military stuff, or drill,
hmm
or
hmm
whatever other rates. Right, getting yelled at as a plebe. I had a couple. We had a dude. Well, going back to Plebe Summer real quick, I remember a dude quit the first day, like kind of like not
Yeah,
like
yeah, 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 yeah.
some white
Absolutely.
some white dude was like he put out a paw. He was like, I want to go home, like tears in his eyes. I'm like, wow, you quitting on the first day, bro? Like, all right, cool. And then we had another guy. What's his name? Oh, McLaren. Bobby McLaren played football. He was a
Yeah.
stud.
Bobby
That
was a
dude,
bad dude.
Bobby was a bad dude. Bobby was in my company, and they were yelling at Bobby, and he got this face. And he started breathing heavy, and they were like, "Bobby, calm down." And he was like, He's like, I'm gonna kill somebody. We're like, bro, if you hurt somebody here, man, they're gonna get rid of you. So they calmed him down, but he was a stud, man. But like, yeah, they do that on purpose. They push you. My second class was like a 5'2" runner. He became a Marine Corps guy, and just was in my ear, man. It's like, and you're like I could kill you, bro, but I don't,
So Keith, you want to know what I did when I was a senior?
yeah,
I took the four freshman athletes, Tammy, Zach, what's my Josafa, okay. We had one non-athlete. Those were the three athletes. I took one non-athlete,
yeah.
and I called my second class in and my youngsters,
Don't
right?
flex him.
No. I just called them in. I said, listen, your performance grade is going to be strictly based on their academics. So if you want a good performance grade, I suggest you make sure that their academics are on point.
Wow.
Okay. I don't care about anything else except their academics. So if you want to yell at them at the table, just understand this. When you start yelling at them, I'm going to be looking at you. And if their grades ain't good, I guarantee you're going to be ranked below last in the
Wow.
company. So, like, there was no yelling at my tables. Them cats be quizzing them. Like, they be quizzing them at the table, breakfast, lunch,
Yeah.
but like,
Yeah.
bro, like, I always go back to, man, yelling at people ain't leadership.
It is not at all. It's not at all.
And I
You
understand in the initial, like, plebe summer,
sure,
understand it, right?
sure.
But, like, when you get into your squad,
Down calls and shit and people
yeah, you're still yelling at you
it's
and like,
6:30 in the morning, dude. Like, what do you want? Like, who hurt you? And then you see that when you talk about like, we can shift to that leadership, right? Who hurt you,
that's
right?
that they're giving you that right there. Them 3D losers, bruh. The 3D losers,
Like you're
right?
you're like you're like, bro, like you really weren't that cool in high school then, because you're in here really
Cool. But dog, my problem was they would go to the fleet and fail instantly.
really. And see,
Instantly.
I didn't get to see this, so
Bruh.
tell me.
Like the little flamer dudes would get on the ship and they'd be like, and some fucking chief would be like, hey, come here, little fucking ensign. They'd be like,
Shut it
oh,
down.
oh,
Fuck up.
oh, oh. They were hyperventilate like, oh. And then, like obviously wouldn't be able to perform.
It's the real well it becomes a real world. And so I think what messed me up was that I thought the academy was the real world. And
Mm.
so when it went south for me, my sophomore year, I went out. I was like, I'm kind of like you. I was like, I'm at college now. Fuck this. I was like, I want to be in college. This is my experience because we're about to go to war. I don't know that I'm really good here. I want to stay. It was a bifurcation in my head. But we
Okay.
was partying, thousand hotel parties, house parties here and there. Got caught, came back one day, morning formation. I was smelled like a brewery, first class. And this is my sophomore year. I
Were
made it
you
through
21
freshman year.
years? Were you 20 years old?
No. And
Mm.
he's like, were you drinking last night? And I'm like, why are you asking me that? He's like, come on, Collins, you can't lie to me. Were you drinking last night? And I'm like, why would you do this in formation in front of everybody at 8 a.m., knowing that I do smell like this? I look hungover. Okay. Pull me into a room, man. Like, what is it?
He doing it on purpose, bro. He trying to
On,
get you on purpose, bro. Listen, I
on
tell
purpose.
people, man, they ain't
On
trying to have
purpose.
absolutely.
And so I was like, yeah, man, I was drinking. Yep, another conduct violation, right? It's another 60 days, 25 tours, you know.
Hey, all right, Keith, you just said tours, so I'm gonna ask you a question, dog. How many tours could you do in a day?
I did. I think my
In
best.
one day?
I
How
think
many
my
could you do?
best was like 45.
In one day?
Yeah.
45
No,
to no,
no,
you
not
can't do
45 in one day
45.
because they were an hour. It was 20. Were they a half
They're an
hour?
hour apiece.
Oh, I meant like, okay, not a day. I think I did like 40 in was it 40 in a week? I can't remember. Anyway,
Okay, so I banged 29 in one day.
you can't, so how can you do 29 if it's an hour a piece of 24 hours?
So if you march them all straight, they're 45-minute tours with a
Oh,
15-minute
45 minute.
break.
Right, 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 right.
No, the 50-minute
50
tours
minute tours?
with a
Okay.
10-minute break. So I would start at 4 a.m. So they would give me tours so I couldn't have liberty.
Right.
So
All weekend long.
I start at 4 a.m. and I will walk for 9 hours straight.
I'm
Right.
high. Yeah, I mean, I know I'm highly exaggerating. I know I got 25 one time. I think I got 50 the next time. But like,
I was getting fried first semester, Keith. I was getting fried a 4,000 every 3 days for duty section muster. I got Friday 4,000 first semester every 3 days. I had 200 and like 85 demerits after the first semester
golly, I think I had 285 total. So
total. But my dude Gravy was a conduct officer. He threw away all but 50 of them. I never would have graduated, bro. There's like bro, but here was the deal. Okay. You talk about setups, you talk about, bro. First of all, I had a 3.0. They were fucking pissed, bro. They were so mad at me.
your grades were good, right?
I go to bed at
I was
7,
like a
bro.
2.4. I was like a 2.3
Yeah, I had
or
3.0.
2.4.
I was going to bed at 7, like wasn't studying, didn't buy books, wasn't doing nothing, right? But what I got them was they kept having duty section muster at 4:30 p.m.
What?
I was at football. And so they wouldn't, and you couldn't sign out for duty section muster.
What?
And so every 3 days I got a 4,000. I got to the point where I would laugh. This is crazy, but my company officer ended up being the CEO of my ship. Okay.
Wow.
And I would laugh in her face. He gave me another 4,000.
What are
Take
4,000s?
care.
And I'm sorry if I'm missing like that
So
terminology.
it's a major conduct event. It's right below major conduct offense. So like a 5,000 is a major. 6,000 is you're kicked out. You got to be let back in. 5,000, I got 3 of those.
Yeah,
That's like you got to go see the commandant. But a
I was getting
4,000
5,000s. Yeah.
is like a battalion level. But I got them
Let's
every
see.
3 days. Like it
Oh,
was
geez.
but it was the dumbest thing in the world. Like
Well,
but
it was the thing about managing you out. They were trying to push you out. It was we don't really want you here. There were people who
yeah.
powers that
They
be that
tried.
were like,
But see, this is where I understand the game.
yeah,
I knew I'm traveling on the football team. I'm playing football on the football team.
right,
And I have a 3.0.
right. What can you really do? Right.
Like I told them all the time. I'm like, hey man, listen, I hate to tell you this. This is why I tell my upperclassmen this all the time. I hate to tell you this. I'm black. I got a 3.0 and I'm traveling on the football team.
Right.
You ain't got enough power to do shit to me. Okay. So like whatever you want to try to do, go right ahead. But just understand this. I'm doing great. Like, bro,
Look,
they'd be so mad.
I was JV for life on a wrestling team. I wasn't even breaking that starting lineup. I was going.
I came into wrestling as a junior and got the varsity 167 spot.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
your
bro.
boy, all right. You were boys with was it Zembiek, right?
Yeah. That's my oldest son. Or no. You talking about Doug?
Doug,
Yeah. Doug Zembeck was my wrestling partner, but my oldest son is named Zembeck also.
Awesome, love that. No, I wrestled with I would say wrestling partner like Travis Manion. So that was around when he was there a year older than me, and then got killed in '07. So it's crazy, right? It's crazy to think about my time there and then being around people who are no longer here anymore, and you're like training with people every day. There was a seriousness to it, right? And so I was like, I don't want to take this shit this seriously, and I don't think that I can mentally because
And you were drinking. So here's one of my
I was
superpowers,
drinking
Keith,
as well.
I don't drink.
You never did, or you tried it and was like,
no. My dad was alcoholic, bro. So I'd never be like that. I ain't never gonna be like that.
My dad was too, but he didn't show us the alcoholism. He didn't drink around us. He would.
Fuck, my dude, my dad would be fucking pissy drunk. Fucking, I remember one night, man. This shit was crazy, man. Middle of the night, you ain't gonna give me no pussy. Y'all gotta. And my dad would fucking break shit, man.
Oh,
and I remember he fucking, I'm going to get me some pussy. Like in the middle of the night, I was probably 8 years old, 9 years
That's
old.
crazy,
And
bro.
he went out the house, slammed the door. I heard the truck drive off. And then I was like, oh my God.
That's
I went down and my
scary. Yeah. Yeah.
mom was crying. And then
Trauma.
I
Mhm.
went back to bed. I got up to go to school the next morning, right? Because my mom, I don't know what my mom was doing.
He's on the
And I,
couch or something.
no, I was walking down the driveway. He was at the end of the driveway. So we had like a long, probably 50-yard driveway.
Yeah.
He was at the end of the driveway, passed out in his truck and shit. And I was like, oh, I guess he didn't go nowhere. And I went to school.
Visuals that will never leave you. But look, my pop didn't drink around us. He was loving, man. Like he would go out, but he would come home and sleep on the couch. And like, you could smell alcohol on him, but like it wasn't a situation where but then look, you get warned about it. You get told, look, like don't dive in. And this is later in life for me as well, that I've had my struggles with alcoholism and rooms and all that, right? So I'm not afraid to admit any of that stuff. But college, you're like, I'm a college kid. I should be able to go drink. I should be able to go party. I should be able to hang with my friends. And you're not,
Shit.
and that's just not the way it works. So look, I got, the conduct violation again sophomore year. Then at the end of sophomore year, I got to do pistol range training, which I loved, right? Like I was dope at it. I was like, oh, this is gonna be okay. Like I'm gonna look forward to, junior year. Walk back to my room like June of '03, email, conduct violation. And now it's like whatever the 5,000s were. It was like 10 of them. I'm
10
like,
of them.
I'm like, what the fuck is this? I get a knock on my door. Seal, this guy, Senior Chief Troutman. I forget what his
Okay.
first name was. Senior Chief Troutman. Kind of a weird. He was a kooky kind of guy, but he was a
Yeah,
SEAL.
yeah.
He's like, Mr. Collins, can I talk to you for a second? I was like, yeah, Chief, what's up, man? He's like, just come in my office. And I was like, yeah. He's like, listen, we got a call today. I don't know what you did, but NCIS wants to talk to you. And I was like, Chief, what's NCIS? He was like, and this is before TV show.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
He's
yeah,
like
yeah.
Naval Criminal Investigative Services, son. You got to go up
Yeah.
to Bethesda and meet with two agents.
Oh, Jesus.
And I'm like, oh Jesus, right? I'm like, man, what
Yeah.
happened? Turns out we had my plebe year. We lived on Ricketts. My company was if we were 21 or
Oh, they were redoing the buildings. They
we
were
were redoing the
redoing the buildings.
buildings.
You
And that
guys lived
year I
in
lived in
Ricketts.
Ricketts. Yeah, we lived
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Ricketts. And we had this party, and like these girls
In
are,
Ricketts?
huh?
In Ricketts.
In Ricketts. They
Yeah,
had
yeah, yeah.
snuck out from Bancroft and ran over to us, and they
Okay.
had this party, and my boys got involved in some stuff, and I was like, and I was not involved.
Wait,
But I,
wait, 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 wait. What year is this? Okay, so that was before I got there. Because I got on the yard in 2003. And there was a really bad situation going down in 2005 with Lamar. So
I remember Lamar. Yeah, okay.
yeah,
So
a real
I
bad situation.
yeah,
Okay, so go ahead.
this wasn't it, and this was I'm not not dropping any names, obviously, and
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah, yeah. Go
know
ahead.
situations, but look, I was around it, and I was like, I removed myself, but a year later, the female midshipman came forward and was like, hey, I was assaulted, and I would never argue that someone can come forward whenever they want to, but at the time that person did that, that implemented, or not implemented, but like that got what 10 of us in trouble. A couple football players, myself, a couple guys in my company, that were there, right? That were around. And so look, NCIS was like, look, man, they're like, I'm Agent so and so, I'm Agent Brown. We know you weren't involved, but we want to know everything that you know, and then we already know the story, so just tell us. And I'm like, bro, like, and they're like, who brought the alcohol? Who was
So
where?
wait a minute, 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 wait a minute. Hang on, hang on, hang on. Because I know your background,
Yeah,
okay. So I take it in high school, you didn't deal with the police very much.
not at all. I got pulled
Not
over
one time.
I got pulled over one time and talked to him
Okay.
with the window down and, sir, how are you? My father taught me to, here's my license and registration. I'm a good kid. I'm headed to the Naval Academy. It's sorry if I was speeding. Was I speeding, sir? Well, son, you were going 68 and it's 55, and I'll drop it to a 59 for you, and here's your $30 ticket and be on your way. That was that
Oh
was
no, see,
that was
see,
my only interaction with police in my.
I got charged with rioting my senior year.
Oh shit.
I got charged 5 times, bro.
You
So
was
like
out here. You was out here acting up, bro.
I
You
got
was out
shot
here
right before I went to the Naval Academy.
shot.
Shot. Bang. Bang. Yeah. So this is what I would tell you, right?
Golly, man. Okay.
It's funny to hear you tell the story
Yeah.
because I'm like, this
I
motherfucker
wasn't
don't
built.
know.
I wasn't
He
built
wasn't.
like that, dude.
Dog, the first thing I would have said is, I'm not speaking until my lawyer is present.
I was like, listen,
Because you sat there and told him everything.
I said, I didn't sing like a songbird. I just told him everything I knew.
You told him everything you knew.
Everything I knew. And then
did they ask you, did you have a drink? Did they tell you, did they ask you if you had been drinking?
Oh yeah. I was like, yeah. Well, it was provided.
I'm like, talk to my lawyer.
I was like, it was provided. I don't know who provided it, but it was there. And I had some. Yeah. I've heard some of your videos and seen your videos and like talking down on the academy and like,
I'm on the blacklist, bro. Keith, I'm on the blacklist. There's 19 people on the blacklist, and I'm on the blacklist because I filed a fucking grievance against the Navy.
Wait.
How is that possible?
Well, then we need let's dive into that part and we can just shortly talk about just like the SEAL.
I want to know. No. So let's get back. Okay, so you get kicked out for this incident, clearly.
Well, all right. So yeah, so they pulled me off of the range. Like 9 or 10 of us go see the commandant, and I guess it was like July of 03.
Okay.
And like we all just got again dressed out. This dude yelling at us and like,
yeah,
he was like, I find his orders like, you're gone. You can stay. The prior Marine dude, you're gone. He kicked everybody out except for one dude. And then
he kicked out of the 10 people. He kicked everybody out.
9 except for one. Yeah.
And was he a Marine?
The Don?
Yeah.
No, it was a Navy.
What was the racial demographic of the 10 kids that got kicked out?
It was like
9 kids that got kicked out. What was the demographic?
It was like 3 of us were, I think 3 black and 6 white guys.
Okay, I'll take that.
Yeah,
I'll take that. But if he's murdering, he murdered. Okay.
Yeah, but you know, the last dude actually was a football player, and this dude came strolling down. Is it called Ribbling? I can't remember the walk where Tecumseh is.
Stribbling walk.
He came down, walking down though. He had blood on his uniform. He was holding his hat, and he had a black eye. And this is the day we got our adjudication. He missed it. He rolled in afterwards. He was like, "What's up, guys?" And we're like, "What happened to you?" He's like, "Dude, I got drunk in downtown Annapolis." He's like, "I took a swing at a Marine Corps officer, and I called a female officer the C word. I don't know what to say on your podcast."
Yeah.
He's like, "I spent the night in the drunk tank." He's like, "Let me go." He's like, he goes, "Let me go talk to this Don real quick. I'm gonna get up out of here." It was a white dude too. We were like, "Go ahead, bro."
Yeah.
He walked in there. That you heard the Don just scream because he went solo. Screamed at him for like 20 minutes. He's like, "Now get out of my face." He walked out, dude. Ryan McCabe. He put his hat on. He was like, "Sir." He was like, "Sirs." He gave us a salute and just walked off. And I've never seen him since 20 years ago. That was the funny part about that. Look, the aftermath was, what am I supposed to do now? How do I figure this out? Do I stay? Do I go? I called my mom. I was distraught.
Wait. Do you stay? I thought you got kicked out.
So you could appeal. Like I went and talked to a JAG and they were like, "Hey, you can appeal this and you got to send it to the superintendent and then you got to go to the Secretary of the Navy." And I'm like, "I want to fight this, because all right, so real quick, go back. When I talked to NCIS, I was like, what am I doing here? I'm sitting in the office. And then when I was sitting in the office, like 2 of the girls that were involved in this came in too. And I'm like, "What are y'all doing here?" And I'm like, year later, now I know, okay, that was what this was about. At the end of my interview with NCIS, I'm like, "Am I going to be in trouble administratively?" I was like, "Because I'm not in trouble legally, right?" And they're like, "No, you're not in trouble with us." I was like, "Am I going to be in trouble with the school?" They're like, "Well, listen, nothing you said here will be shared with the school." And I went back and that's when I had my conduct violation. So I actually hadn't got my conduct violations yet. It was my chief talking to me first, sending me to NCIS. And then when I got back to Bancroft, I had it was a rap sheet.
And what they get you on?
Man,
underage drinking,
drinking in the hall, sex in the hall, because apparently I kissed the girl. So I was like, okay, sex in the hall, conduct unbecoming, whatever. It was like all these things where you're like, you're just throwing a rap sheet at me now. I was like, I'm a good dude. I'm a good person. I don't understand.
I'm so good. I told a policeman everything.
I told him everything. Like you come from that school of thought. You're like, I ain't telling him shit. And I'm like, look, for me, I'm like, look, man, I have no reason to not be forthright unless I actually felt like I was doing something intensely wrong. But anyway, I digress. I go to restriction muster again. And you could sign out of restriction musters, like go to the gym or whatever.
Yeah.
I had a problem.
No, you could sign out a surprise restriction muster.
Oh no, I was trying. We could.
You couldn't.
You could sign out of the morning one if you were like at the gym or something, or
Oh
like
no, no, you had to make all musters. You couldn't
nah, like
unless you had
duty.
athletic practice.
Oh,
You could miss a muster, but you had to go sign out of that muster when you were
right.
on restriction. So
I
you go down to the duty office, you sign out of that muster, say, "Hey, I got football practice this afternoon," or
yeah.
"We're traveling on an away game."
Right. Well, where I broke was it was this summer. There was some. It was right before 2 for 7s, like signing a contract,
Yeah,
and I was on
yeah.
restriction, and people are starting to like come back. But I've overslept the restriction muster, and I've had problems with oversleeping my entire life. Like I'm not a
Cool.
morning person. Like I
I got one of those.
bro. And you talking about you want me up at 6:15 to go check in some 6:30 muster and wear my uniform. And not that it was like I didn't care. I just kept oversleeping. So overslept. It was like 7 a.m. I rolled down there. I tried to sign out, and then the officer of watch pops out. Is that Mr. Collins? And I'm like, and I'm literally had just signed my name because I thought about it like, man, don't do this. Da, 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 da. Just take the hit. I was like, just take
Oh.
the hit and fucking, and take the extra day. And I had
So
already
then they
signed.
got you on an honor
So
violation.
then she's like, hey, son. But luckily, look, this was the thing. This is what blessed me, actually. The officer of the watch was a brother, this black dude. I forget his name, dark skinned dude, really just, and he was like, look, man, you know you can't do that. And I'm like, hey, man, we need to talk. Because I was like, because this place has me so stressed out that I'm doing things that I wouldn't normally do to try to save myself to stay in this place. Think
Yeah.
about how that sounds.
Yeah, yeah.
So he pulls me in the office.
That's the stinking thinking circle of death, brother.
Circle of death, bro. So he pulls me in the office, and I'm like, I'm done, bro. I was like, I'm done. Shut it down. I was like, I want to go home today. I was like, whatever I got to do. And he was like, whoa, 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 wait a second, man. Like, aren't you fighting this? Like, you want to go to the soup? I was like, get me my papers, get me to a JAG, get me the fuck out of here. I want to go back to Delaware. And so he was like, all right, I'll help you out. So they got me to a JAG. I, packed up my bags. I was staying on like, I think it was like 3-1 or 5, maybe it's like 7-1. That's where the restriction people were staying.
All summer, bro. That restriction in the
Yeah, that summer
summertime was
restriction. Yeah, down
legit,
there, like
bro.
whatever wing that was. We had a time down there. But yeah, dude, that was August 12th, 2003. And I signed my docs and I said, do I owe y'all any money? And they were like, you didn't sign your contract, so you're good, take off. I was like, have a good one. And I cried, I was upset. My dad picked me up, I think it's interesting you say people that quit, you started at the top of the podcast, people quit and things don't turn out well for them. And so, look, my life has been a struggle. Like, and I know, look, I just made VP, and I don't really want to talk about like where it is. People can look that stuff up, but that's separate. That's my
You're
business.
killing it, son. Just know you're killing it.
Thank you, man. I do
How old are
appreciate
you?
it. 40, 41.
Yeah, 41. You killing it, bro.
And look, like I got home. I worked at a TGI Fridays at 20 years old. I left
Yep.
the Naval Academy, was working at Fridays. Like
Yep.
that'll fuck you up. No, I mean, but it was like, what am I doing here? I transfer into schools, I go to University of Delaware. I have a great time at Delaware, but I got, the party and the drinking. Almost barely graduated, got like a 2.3, 2.4 out of college. But then I was like, you know what? Like, I'm not gonna let that failure dictate how I live my life and go forward. So I ended up working at banks, worked in multiple banks up until about 2017. And I got my MBA, and my mom was like, go back to school. I'm like, all right, I'll go back to school.
Where'd
But
you
I
get your MBA from?
small school, Wilmington College, Wilmington University in Delaware.
Gotcha.
I
Gotcha.
got it at
Gotcha.
night.
Gotcha.
I wasn't, I not B school, Wharton and all that, and Ross. I'm good. That is what it is. And so I get to Morgan Stanley, and I ended up, having just a one of those bosses, almost like a first year, second class at the Naval Academy that just didn't want you to succeed. That
Hmm.
did not like it was heir apparent to where my coworkers were like, Keith, this dude don't like you. To
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
at, just kind of like that
Yeah.
Guido Bronx shit, like just didn't the fact that I was black, he was not messing with me.
Oh, dang. Hey, bro.
And
I
I,
didn't
and I
get a job at Wachovia Securities
yeah,
because I smashed my managing director in golf.
because you
And he
beat him
lost
in golf.
$18,000, bro. Blew his head off on the golf course.
Jesus. That's terrible.
Yep. And there's only two blacks out of 636 people on the Wachovia trading floor in Charlotte. Two. Me as an intern from Michigan and a director that was down to what? That was it. Two.
Two. And I look, there was two guys, you know, actually there was one older brother. I went and he was like this guy who went from analyst to managing director at Merrill Lynch in like 20 years. And like one of the first black people to do that. Haitian dude. And I'm not gonna drop his name,
At
but
Merrill Lynch?
at Merrill Lynch. And I went
Shit, our girl was a managing director at 31
Jeez.
at Maryland at
Wrong.
Merrill Lynch on the
But look,
trading
I
floor.
went to go meet this guy. I was like, I need a sponsor. Like, not mentorship. You know, sponsorship is huge. When they talk
Yeah,
about
yeah,
that where
yeah,
I work now,
yeah.
sponsorship is big. Champions. Like, you don't need, it's a mentor, you can mentor anybody. Sponsor me. Like, speak about me well in rooms I'm not in. So I went to this
No,
guy and I was like, I'd love for you to sponsor me. I'd really like to kind of like follow your lead, get to managing director, da da da. He was like, look, man, I'm telling you like this. Put your head down, keep it moving. Don't, and he's like, they fire the assholes first. And I'm like, wait, that's it, you know? And the thing is, there's a scarcity play with black people, with women, with people in that space because it is predominantly white male run, right? So the scarcity thing is like, look out for yourself. I can't help you. Like, I would
yeah,
love to
yeah,
help you, but I got to look out
yeah.
for me. And that's why
So,
you end up having two people on a trading floor
so,
because
so you know, you know what I
sorry.
told you, Keith. Like as a young dude right now, we don't ever go after the black person as a sponsor ever,
Okay.
because a black person can't help you.
Right.
Okay, when a black person speak kindly of you, they looking at, of course, that Negro is supporting that other Negro.
Whoa.
Okay, but so I tell everybody we have a whole system, right? Like we got dudes killing it right now, bro. We have a whole
Yeah.
system, but we always we find somebody that's not like us. So because
Yeah.
it,
Well,
it's just a system, bro.
bringing race into it, it's tough because we are black men, right? And
Absolutely.
we operated and do operate in white spaces, and that's just the reality of it. I think that, and now,
No, and God help you if you hire a female, Keith. God help you if you hire a female.
and you have to, and I want to hire females. I want to
Bruh, I
train.
had a 21-year-old rock star, black female with
Yeah,
full sleeves,
killing it.
running my $7 million a year company, murdering first degree.
Right.
Cats ask me, well, how did you find her? I'm like, I don't see anything except capable people. She was capable. The more I
Mhm.
gave her, the more she did, the more capable she became. The more I gave her, the better she did, the more capable she became. And at one point, I was like, you know what? She'll run this whole thing.
Right.
And then about September to probably the following May, so maybe 9 months.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I mean,
okay.
yeah, look, I speak to, yeah, you want the different schools of thought. You need to have diversity of thought and diversity of people. But black people, and specifically black women, and my mother will speak to this, it's like they get subjugated the worst. And my sister's in law school now at 44 years old, killing it, Widener University, law school, Delaware Law School. She's 44 years old, and she's a redemption story. She was the drug dealer's hot girlfriend for 10 years and had two kids and really struggled and went away for a little bit, but got out and is a redemption story. And I look at it the same way for me, where I crashed out.
To sit in the back of the bus and be quiet.
Yeah.
Okay. But see, I got raised by a fucking savage.
Right, right.
So I'll do what I gotta do, but you're not gonna talk down to me. You're not gonna treat me like I got treated in the SEAL teams and just walk away unscathed. Right. Now, I don't think I handled it the best way. Now whooping their
Looking back,
ass. I
yeah.
didn't handle it the best way, but I handled it the only way I thought possible because I didn't have any mentorship in the SEAL teams. I didn't have any real mentorship.
Did you even see
Okay.
anybody who really looked like you at that time in the SEAL teams?
I was the first black officer to graduate from training in 9 years. Okay.
Yeah.
The next black officer was 89 grad from the Naval Academy. The next officer after me was 2000.
Jeez.
Okay. So there was an 11-year period where I was the only black officer in the SEAL teams. Now,
Is that what question? Is that why you push a lot of folks, and not to say not to go SEALs, but that you push people to go special spec ops? Army?
I just so here's the deal. I tell people, right? Like, I know when you call me if you have a chance. And 90% of the African Americans that call me that want to be SEAL officers or Navy SEALs, don't have a chance because they have zero swimming background. They've never been. I got to learn how to swim. Okay, well,
Look, if you're learning how to swim by the time you get up to freaking buds, bro, come on.
let's go. Let's go with the
I was
army.
decent. I was decent, but I knew enough not to go to buds.
And so a lot of people think I'm negative on the SEAL teams, but I just told you, like we got 10, 11 black officers since 2008. Prior to 2008, there had been fucking 9 in 70 years.
Wow.
And we have 11 in the last 15 years. Okay.
Right.
So it's one of those deals where no, but you got to have the right makeup, right?
Correct.
Like you can't be black and want to go to buds and I'm going to be like, oh yeah, you'll make it. Like,
well, it's telling a guy and showing him he can make it, but also him showing you that I'm willing to sacrifice and put in the work.
The only thing that matters is him showing me.
Oh, other way around.
I'm not fucking helping nobody.
Okay.
Right? Because I'm not going to be there to help you on fucking Thursday of Hell Week or Wednesday of Hell Week. So like I don't help nobody. Now I'll show you the way. Yeah. But there ain't no helping. You know, I got probably 20 dudes in buzz right now. 20. Okay.
And is that one class or there's phases right now?
It's probably 5 a class.
Okay.
So I know I got 4 dudes in SQT. I got a bunch of kids in first phase right now.
Yeah.
I ain't got no calls about second phase. So I might be light in second phase, a couple kids in third phase. So I normally have about 20 people at any point at the pipeline.
Couple of my wrestler dudes went SEALs. I'm not dropping their names, but a couple guys went MARSOC, man. Like I that's the shit that I lament where I'm like, I could have been.
But see, here's the deal.
I could have been a badass. Could have walking around here badass.
You know how I ended up going? I want to be Army Ranger and Green Beret my whole life.
Right. Okay. You grew up in an Army base.
I grew up Army Ranger, 2nd Ranger bat. I didn't even know that they had Green Berets at Fort Lewis. I'd have been up. I'll tell you right now. I would have, if I knew they had Green Berets, I would have been that kid that would have been volunteering to clean up at the range. Right. Like I would have been like, I would have drove up. Hey, Mom, drop me off on Fort Lewis. I'd have rode my bike up to Fort Lewis and found first group and been like, hey, man, I'm going to be a Green Beret, but right now I'm going to do whatever you want me to do. I'll come here every day and we're all summer. I'll come. What do you want me to do?
Right.
Because like that's how it was, right? Like I would seek out what I wanted.
Yeah.
And so when I got to the Naval Academy, I didn't know what a Navy SEAL was. I didn't know. I was going to go fly jets, right? Like I want to be F-14 pilot.
I wanted to be a pilot too. Yeah.
And then, you know, like the first day of NAPS, Jim Galladay, who's the first Naval Academy Navy SEAL to graduate from the Naval Academy, got a Bronze Star for Panama. I was like, what is that? They're like, oh, them dudes, man, they bad. So then I read Rogue Warrior. I'm like, oh, let's go do this.
Who wrote that? It's a book, Road Warrior.
Rogue Warrior. It's written by Marchenko, Dick Marchenko. He's like the dude that founded Dev Group.
Nice.
It's just a good book, right? And that was the first book I ever read sophomore year at the Naval Academy.
Wow.
Like that's the first book I ever read cover to cover. So I was like, oh, you know, let's go do that. But like everybody's like, oh, you wanted to be a SEAL. I was like, yeah, I wanted to be a SEAL for 7 years. But it wasn't because I wanted to be a SEAL. It's because I wanted to do the job. And that's the only job in the Navy that looked anything like that. Like if I was in the Army, I'd have been an infantry officer, right? Like I wouldn't. Right. And so it was just crazy to me because, you know, now you got these kids. I've been dreaming of being a Navy SEAL my whole life.
You ain't going to make it, dog.
Ain't going to make it, bro. Well, how did you get there? I'm like, be honest with you. I was doing special operations missions at 8 years old with my crazy dad, you know. They're like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, well, yeah, that's what I did, you know. So
look, there's a reality check that hits, and I speak to, you know, being in the finance world or having been at the academy, and like you got to check in with reality of like, what are you willing to sacrifice and put yourself through to get what you want. So
my biggest problem with performance is working with people that aren't complete winners. So I had a job offer 6 months ago for $300,000.
Okay.
And I looked at the cats that I would be working with, and they were all fucking losers. And I said, thank you.
You never want to be the best dude on a softball team, man. Like it's like,
so here's my problem.
Be around people that are better than you, right?
Y'all, not necessarily like you always want to be surrounded with better people, but you could be surrounded with better people that are losers, right? Like you can be a dude could be the best computer science dude in the world. He got all the answers to solve whatever you're trying to solve, but he's a loser, right? And so, like I know this, like I'm not a winner, I'm an ultimate winner because I'll tell you this story, Keith. This a hit home for you. Okay, so
Or
applying to business school, did you have to take the MCAT? I mean the GMAT.
no.
You didn't have to take it at Wilmington. Okay, so I got to take the GMAT, right? I'm in SEAL teams. I'm pissed, right? I'm catching all sorts of crap. I got the worst OIC in the world. Has been fired 3 times in the SEAL teams. White kid from Boston, just a shithead. Okay, loser ass,
Jesus.
just trash. Okay, I went to my command 3 times. I was ranked number 2 at SEAL Team 8. Ranked number two officer at SEAL Team 8 for 2.5 years.
Wow.
Okay, I get this trash dude. They gave him to me because a dude on the West Coast had filed a grievance and put me in my buds class and put my name in the grievance on every page. Okay. So they were punishing me. And I told him, I said, I'm going to take one punishment. I said, but if you let this dude fire me, I'm blowing this place up. So I was studying for the GMAT in the middle of all this.
Wow.
And so on the writing section.
What year is this, by the way? Just so I can get a time. 98?
99 going into 2000.
Gotcha.
So no. 2000. It's 2000. So like we did the workup in 2000. So it's 2000. So I'm studying for the GMAT, and there's a writing section. You got math and English. I'm murdering the math. I'm getting a 99% on the math every time I take the test to practice, right? I'm getting like a 40 on the English. So I go to the library and I check out 10 Princeton review books, and I go to my photocopier at work and I photocopy the whole book. And I have a stack of like 5,000 pages, and I highlight all the right answers on all the English stuff.
Okay.
And literally every day for 4 hours, I read the question and the right answer.
Yeah.
That's all I do for 4 hours for 9 months straight. Okay. So about 6 months into the study program that I got, my English section is doing okay. My math is still crushing it.
Yeah.
But you got to write an essay. And so it's a 1,000-word essay, right? And so they had this computer program where you would write the essay and it would give you a score. So it's out of 6 points. I was getting 0. So I'm like, oh, shit. Okay.
Sorry, I was all right. Like, geez.
Damn, 0.
You really were struggling. You still struggle, I'm sure.
I don't write nothing, bro. I don't. If you see anything that I've written, my roommate Bo Shap has rewritten it. ChatGPT has helped me out massively, bro.
That's cool.
Massively. Like for me to be able to craft a discernible message in the written prose language, right. I ain't doing it. My wife will say it. Shit, I'll send her a message. She be, what the fuck is this, Jake? Oh yeah, I forgot a couple thoughts in there. My bad. So dog, I was sitting in the library up at Regis University in Virginia Beach.
Yeah.
I said, you know what? I'm gonna beat this motherfucker. I'm gonna beat this motherfucker like it stole something.
Find a way. Yeah.
So I started reading the essays. I found 3 distinctly different essays. I memorized them word for word, 1,000 words, 3,000 word essays. I memorized them motherfuckers in like 3 months, word for word. I went into the GMAT Center. I fucked up the math section, which killed me. Okay, because they had statistics. The first 4 problems, I really hadn't done a lot of work on statistics.
Tough, yeah. So
it got me. I got a 71% on the math, which was 30% below where I normally would do. Mm-hmm. And then I got an 81% on the verbal section.
Yeah.
And then obviously we had to do the writing test. And your boy looked at the noun. I said, this essay will work perfect for that. I changed the noun in the question to the noun in my essay that I had memorized, wrote that shit down, got to the next question. I said, this essay will work perfect for this. Changed the noun in the question to the noun in my essay, got a 5.5 out of 6 on the writing test.
5.5 out of 6. Jake, think about the creativity. It's like, but also just the work ethic to find a way. Like you said at the top of the podcast, to find a way. If you're going to memorize 1,000-word essays and you have that in your brain to then pump that out versus coming up and thinking creatively, how can I write out prose and figure that out? Look, even if you can't do the second part, the first part, most people aren't built like that to do that.
But see, that's why I can't work with losers.
Okay. Find a way.
Because I'm going to find a way to win, bro.
Yeah.
I'm going to find a way to win. Like it's not like cats ask me and they're like, oh man, I'm like, look, bro, you don't understand what you're dealing with. It's kind of like Goggins, right? Like cats be like, oh man, like Goggins, you like Goggins. I'm like, look, motherfucker, I'm 10 years older than Goggins. Okay. Right. First of all, I said, but you have to have like where I came from and the limitations that I had as a person. That I got asthma, bro. Like my O2 level right now. I got our pulse ox machine up there was 94%. So I've been
Jeez.
trying to figure out why my running sucks, right? And I'm like, God damn, I'm,
But
I'm
you were
fucking.
running 630 miles at SEAL training and
I'm running
swimming.
6 minute miles all day, but like right now, like my pulse ox is fucking 94%. So I went to the doctor. I'm like, look, we got to fix this shit, right?
Right.
Because I'm having some brain problems
Sure.
because of football and everything else. And I know it's directly related to oxygen levels. So I'm starting to watch my oxygen levels a lot. I found my pulse ox machine the other day. And so, but my point is, Keith, right? What happens when someone's a loser and you're working with them and you memorize 3,000 word essays and then you come into work and you just dominate them? And they look at you and they like a winner is like, yeah, dude, you found a way. Let's go.
Yeah.
And the loser is like, we got to get rid of this dude.
Right.
This dude's a problem. This dude's a threat. This dude,
Yeah, right. And I think
right?
what you are saying at the end of the day is that not necessarily people could be, like you said, they could be great people and good at their job, but the loser mentality is you're not going to go to the lengths to find a way, and not about legal or illegal
No,
or
no,
you know
no, 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 no.
without
I'm not breaking
integrity,
no rules no more. I'm not going to jail.
but
Yeah.
like we just said, what are you willing to do? So, and I know we're coming up on like 2 hours, and I don't know how long
Are
you've
we
been.
really?
Yeah, dude, we've been rapping.
The bangers, bro. Listen. Let me tell you something. Just like the Green Beret Chronicles one I did. I talked to that dude for 3.5 hours
Yeah.
and did not
God,
realize. So let's talk about this real quick, Keith.
well, I was gonna say just a couple things, and I
Go ahead.
let you wrap. But
Go ahead.
I leave banking, and that's when I got into comedy. And I think I don't know if you saw
Okay,
my
I didn't know you was doing comedy.
yeah.
Okay.
So I got into stand up, and I was like, I'm gonna kill this shit. Like I'm gonna really go after it. Like I'm gonna follow my dreams because if I don't do it now, what am
Yeah,
I gonna
yeah.
say to myself in 30 years? And
Yep.
that stuff's hard as crap too, right? You stand in front of a group of
Comedy ain't no
people.
joke, bruh.
Comedy is no joke, and I mean, it's
Everybody,
making jokes, but it's no joke. And look, I'm not gonna toot my horn like, oh, I've been on
are you
fat
doing
all
good?
that stuff. I didn't get to that level, right? But I've been able to get paid for it before. I've been on, chocolate Sundays in LA. All these different clubs I've done and experiences and met famous people. Shane Gillis, shout out to that dude. He like left West Point after a month, which I always crack up about. But I did a show with him like 6 years ago, and people that are famous now, man, it's dope. When I first started, I was just networking with everybody. I was meeting famous people and they didn't know who I was. And I was like, what do you know? How do you do it? What are you doing? Tell me. And like other comedians be like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm finding a way. Like I'm getting better because you're still trying to figure out, how to do X, Y, and Z. I'm just like networking and figuring out where I can place myself to then still be funny, but have people know who I am. And like that mentality sometimes like comedians and creatives don't always have that. So I was bringing
Mm-mm,
like that
mm-mm,
military finance
mm-mm,
thought
mm-mm,
process into
mm-mm.
like this is a business, dog. Like this is how this works. You got to do this, this, and this. And like the pandemic shut everything down for me, and that's okay. Like I think now where I'm at is like I'm getting married in 5 weeks.
Oh shit!
Getting
Don't do
getting
it.
getting.
Don't do it, Keith.
You got
You
to
got
read
any
about right
kids?
now.
Listen, bro.
Huh?
Let me tell you something. I married the Savior.
Oh
Okay.
yeah. Oh, I married a good
I
one. I married a good
I
one.
I have drugged this woman through the goddamn depths of hell, bruh.
Bruh. They'll go
And
through it with
she
you.
ain't left me
Okay?
yet. Like dog, I just told her today. She came in. I said, "Man, you leaving today?" She said, "Come on, man." She's like, "I'm
Look, hey,
mad, but
look, man, I got me a good one, bro. She was like, we've been through hell through high water, man. It's been 5 years, and she's the love of my life. And you really got to go through shit with people before you step back and go, oh, you're different too. Like we're weird
oh yeah,
together,
my wife on a different level, bro.
right? And
So we made
you
thirty
gotta
four
have
thousand dollars for 15 years, bro.
say again.
We're $34,000 a year for 15 years, bro.
Y'all were broke.
Broke, right? Now I'm gonna tell you this: I'm never broke. Okay, I didn't get no Christmas presents in third grade. After third grade, I've never been broke. Now I may not have much,
Yeah,
but I'm gonna have a lot of money in the bank.
no, but
Okay,
you a hustler. You're a hustler, and like I live in New York
but
City. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, my wife finally told me, man. She said we got to get out of coaching. We got to. Like I married you for a train ride, but
Yeah.
We ain't got no money, Jake. We got 2 kids, and
Yeah.
I'll listen to it, right? But then, like I do, I found a way to win. 2 weeks later, I got a phone call from Illinois. Started collecting. I collected a little bit of money, but even with that money, shit. Before that, it was like the average was like 17,000. So
Lord.
2017, I've been a coach for 12 years, and then I had those 5 years. No, 2007. Yeah, I've been in 5 years. So I did
So you struggle,
15 years. Yeah,
you
yeah.
struggled through it. Look, man, I went broke legally. So like, and I won't, I went
Doing
broke.
comedy, comedy. You went broke.
2019, 5 years ago, I was like, yeah, I'm in debt. I'm an idiot. Like I got all this stuff racking up. I bought a house in Delaware that I rented to a crackhead and she stopped paying rent. And like,
Oh
dude,
man.
it was a
Oh
whole
man.
thing. It was a
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
thing, man. And like, and it was just it was a train wreck of calamities. And, talking to a friend of mine was like, look, man, if you got to let it go, let it go. And I hate to admit that. I know, again, you got listeners, but it's life. It's really is life.
Hey,
And
hey,
if you gotta start the fuck over, dude, like start over because
Keith.
on the
I
other
don't
side
mean.
of
I'm.
stuff is
I'm gonna
goodness.
interrupt you real quick because
Yeah,
I want you to tell people this because this generation is coming up, 23 and below,
yeah.
has no semblance of any actual factual things that happen in life.
And this is where
They.
we've screwed up this generation. Where what
Yep.
you could say are my generation and millennials and your Gen X, but like millennials, we didn't know. We have no excuse to not tell these kids this is what a credit card is. This is how you do a mortgage. This is why you don't lease a car, you buy a car. Like, well, this is saving your money. This is the S&P. This is that education. My parents have MBAs and they didn't know. And so credit card debt, you're like, oh yeah, I can just do this and travel and pimp out and run around. No, you got to live
I'm gonna
within
be
your
an
means.
influencer.
I'm gonna be an
Like,
influencer. Bro, you're not doing that. You better get your job. I've met people, Jake, that show up to New York and they're living in their car, talking about I'm gonna be a comedian. And I'm like, dude, go get a job. Like they're
hey,
gonna be back in
hey,
Michigan in
Keith.
six
Now,
months.
Keith. Now, hey, I got a couple car guys now. I got
I
a
know I've
kid
seen
that's.
videos,
I got a
right?
kid, Aaron Murray, United States Air Force flight program, got offered some incredible shit. He
Living out of his car.
lived in his Honda Fit for 3 years, but I saw his fit. He was fucking kind of embarrassed, but like, nah, we've been supporting that dude for 3 years, man.
Amen, bro. Look, I'm not disagreeing with that and not saying that's not the right choice, but I'm saying don't stick to your dreams, but don't run around an open mic and in comedy show talking about I'm gonna be famous. And I'm like, dude, you're living in your car. Like, go get
Nah,
four
you
roommates.
can't want to be famous. You got to want to be the best comedian in the world. And the result will become you're gonna get like I tell people, I got stopped at the gas station the other day.
Yeah.
Okay. Am I a famous person? No. Okay. Do I give a shit about fame? No.
No.
Okay.
Not
All I
anymore.
care about right now is raising my 3 kids.
The
Okay.
best to the best of your ability.
Pretty much every decision right now is 3 kids. I'm fixing to buy another company. So I'm looking to buy another company right now.
Awesome.
But, right, I'm getting ready to start a pottery channel. And everybody is like, oh my God, where did that come from? I'm like, well, I've been throwing pottery since I was 7 fucking years old. And I will not have to talk on the pottery channel. I'm just going to throw
Interesting.
pots.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. You know Jameson's Travels, the Marine dude, older dude. He does a lot of stuff like reaction videos. He got 10 million followers. He's mentoring us.
Nice. Yeah. Okay.
And he's like, he said, Jake, this probably is going to be your biggest deal. I said, I
Wow.
know. Cause
You
he's
don't even
like, you
have to
got
talk.
passion for it? I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I done thought there's been so many times in my life when I went to pottery and cats are like, what? And I'm like, yeah, man, like, man,
Yeah.
something I could do really
Whatever.
well.
Do what you love, right? And
But
I tell
Keith, you know what's funny to me, okay? So everybody wants me to go into comedy, right? They say, oh, you funny as fuck, right? I'm like, here's the problem. You know, like you're a comedian, bro. You write jokes, you do all that shit, right?
tell stories, man. That's my gig.
Tell stories, okay? So I tell motherfuckers, if I could do anything with the English language that I could control, I
Right.
might listen to you. But nothing I do, I can control. So if
Yeah.
I can't control even a little bit, what
Yeah.
makes me think all of a sudden I'm gonna be able to go out there and be a fucking comedian, right?
Yeah, and
Like,
all you need, Jake, is one heckler. You don't crash out and walk into the crowd. No, you wouldn't do that. But I'm
oh
telling
yeah,
you,
oh dog, them heckler dudes, bruh. I'll be like, you bitch ass motherfucker, bring your ass up here,
but
bitch.
Come
But
on then.
dog, because that dog, like I'm telling you, violence is my number one source of respect.
Right,
Like
right.
I would go to violence. Like dog, I had somebody try to challenge me the other day.
I'll fuck you up, man. Like,
I
come
said, man,
on.
I'm 52. My right arm don't work. I said, bro, but I guarantee you this. You will cease to exist if you keep running your fucking mouth.
Right.
But see, it's funny because like we on YouTube, whatever we gonna post this on, right? Cats be like, ah, but like I always get the same reaction. When you meet me in person, I'm a lot different than I am on this going coming across this camera, right?
Sure.
Like, like cats be folding up. Now, I
Yeah.
will say this, I'm also a lot wiser and I ain't getting shot or stabbed,
So
right?
you and look, you look at it that way. I've been in Brooklyn for 15 years. I've been held up by knife point, had me all jacked up. I was like, okay, like this is new, this is different. But like how I come across, how I carry myself, which I take pride in, people get it twisted. They're like, oh, well, he's such a nice guy. I'm like, dude, don't get it twisted, man.
You
I'll put
5'11" though. I'm fucking 5'7", bro.
yeah, at
Cats
least
be
the
like, I'm
people.
trying that dude.
Yeah. Nah, I got yeah.
Yeah,
I'm big enough where somebody like, okay, I can see where he might be a problem. I'm like, but then no, I'm like,
man.
no, I'm actually a problem if you really want to do this, man. I've worked, dude. So and real quick, and as we
No,
can,
I got two questions I gotta ask you because I'm gonna put it at the front of the talk.
okay, yeah,
Um,
we'll get to
Go
those.
ahead,
But
no, go ahead.
with the
Whatever you gotta
comedy
say, bro.
thing, I was ripping comedy. Pandemic hit. I was doing Zoom comedy like this, man. It was kind of wild. I was at Junior's Cheesecake in Times Square, running around 4 nights a week. I worked security as a bouncer. I worked at a club downtown on Canal Street. I got my real estate license. I was doing real estate and renting apartments. And anytime I wasn't doing that, I was on a comedy stage for a 2 years straight. And it got to the point where somebody flew me first class 2 years in a row to San Jose, San Francisco. I got to do corporate gigs. I got to travel. I did a thing called the McAllen Manor. So McAllen Scotch, 18 year, 25 year. The McAllen Manor was an 8 week tour as a storyteller. Wear a suit, cheers Scotch, and tell stories. That was 8 cities. I did stand up in every city.
Oh
So
man, dude.
so you're talking like stuff
Were
where
you
like
paying bills though? Were you
what's
paying
that,
bills? Were you able
bro?
to pay bills?
Look, man, so I kind of, say went broke part, but I was doing 80% of what I was doing in finance with
Okay,
5 jobs. So when you
okay.
when somebody tells you you can't make it happen, you better go get multiple gigs. Go get a job, be a hustler. That is life. It's like I'm
That's
sorry,
life.
you don't sit around on your ass and go, "Oh, I'm gonna feel sorry for myself." Get up and go do something because there's always something you can do. And
Yeah,
that
yeah,
I get passionate about that because it's like I can do my day job and I can work and hustle. I got some other side stuff going. We'll talk about that. We can talk about that on the side at another
yeah.
time that I'm working on, right? There's multiple things I'm working on that, my main gig is to be the person I'm going to be in my role and do and take care of my people and be a leader and be someone that they respect and look up to. And then the best titles in life are going to be husband and father, right? Like
Oh,
I'm
you
looking
got kids?
not yet, right? But I'm looking
How
forward
old's
to
your
that.
wife?
35.
Oh yeah, get a kid out, bro.
Yeah.
Listen,
Oh,
I'm
well,
gonna tell you,
she Irish Catholic, so that's happening real quick.
I was.
I'm gonna be your age with like a 9 and 10 year old. So I mean,
That's
I get
solid,
it.
bro. Solid. Just don't try to race the motherfuckers. Dog, my little dude's fast. Like
Well,
my my nine
I'm
year
still gonna
my
wrestle him.
my 9 year old can run. Okay, my wife is state champion in track, right? He
Hell
can
yeah.
run.
I want to
So
put
that
if I have
little
a girl, I want to put her in wrestling, dog. And I think that's
solid, solid man. The women are killing wrestling, bro.
women are
So
killing wrestling right now.
so my I run Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So the kids were off for Thanksgiving, and
Yeah.
my wife said, "Hey, why don't you guys run with dad?" My 9 year old
You
like
can't
with
handle it, dude.
dad. Be back before he even got started.
He
I
took
said, "Hey,
off
little
already.
dude, like what you talking about?" He said, "Dad, let's be honest. You ain't even close as fast as I am." And
Wow.
he ain't lying, bro.
He took
Like
off.
I can't catch him. I can't catch any of my kids at this point because I'll blow out a muscle. But like, like that's one of the things. Like I remember racing my dad down the driveway. He was 40. And I'm like, I'm 53. There's that 13 years
That
took
ship is
whatever
passed.
win I'm gonna get in a foot race with my kids is gone.
What did I see on IG? They said 90% of people over 30 will never sprint again. It's like, or over 35.
Oh
Like
yeah,
there's
yeah, absolutely. They attribute it. So they saying that if you sprint 3 sprints a day, no, 6 sprints, six 40
you need
yard
to start
full speed
sprinting.
sprints, you can release 1300% HGH. So
I'm
like they're saying
starting.
it's like it keeps you healthy. So like one of the
Yeah.
dudes that runs a lot, black head coach for the Jets. No, Herman.
Oh, Herman.
Herman.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Herman.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Herman.
So
Yeah.
he
What's up?
sprints. He runs 100. He runs 10 100s every day. And if
Legit.
you see that dude, he look phenomenal.
Yeah, he looks
But
great. We're similar,
so
but we're different. Like, I think we have a
Keith,
lot of similarities.
do you have a group of men that you go to lunch with?
No.
I want you to make a group of men that you go to lunch with.
But I want
Okay.
to caveat. I want to caveat that I have a group of men
Well,
that I hang out with at my local bar.
no, doesn't
Or
count.
crew,
Not
crew guys,
drinking,
right?
not at a bar. So I have a West Point grad, a former Division I football player, a former Division I baseball player. They're all pharmaceutical device reps. Okay.
Gotcha.
We go to lunch, and there's some other people. There's a Green Beret, retired Green Beret that comes sometimes. Paul will come sometimes. He's a college professor. But we got this core group, and we just did it on Wednesday. Okay.
Okay.
It is so helpful and healthy emotionally to sit with another person of your class and stature
Yep.
and just understand, damn, that motherfucker going through it. Let me see if I can help him. Damn, I'm going through I went through it last year. And I'm not, let me say this. I kind of went through it.
Right.
I kind of went through it and came out
The other
so
side.
on top, it was fucking stupid, right? And
Yeah.
then this year, taxes, I fucked the whole tax thing up, and it fucking got crazy.
Careful with taxes, dog.
Real money, real crazy. Okay, so there was a solid 4 month period where I was fucking. I thought I had blown up my whole family, right? And so it was a little, but you go to that lunch, you have talk, boom, boom, this what
Yeah.
happening, boom, and you
Men
like,
fellowship, man. Yeah.
dog, I was talking to my boy about it from West Point, and we are just like, yo, it's so therapeutic. Like you come out of there, like I came out of there, two things that you come out of the meeting with every time: gratitude for what you have, and then hunger for what you don't have.
That's fair.
So like,
Yeah.
like one of my boys is doing two jobs, two 400K jobs. I'm like, God damn,
Right.
what am I doing?
Right.
And then I'm like, well, fuck, you about to start a pottery channel, right? Like,
Iron
okay,
sharpens iron. And
iron sharp side. So anyway, just I give you that, man. Like, go get 4 dudes, and it got to be some guys. Like, so I've known the West Point dude for 23 years. I met him in 2001.
yeah.
But the other 2 dudes are new, right? But he's known them for 15 years,
Right.
right? So like, but we got this core group. Paul's a Washington State dude I've known since '97, right? So
Oh
like,
yeah.
but it's just therapeutic, man. Like it's so grown, man. I'm 50, 53, one dude 51. The
Yeah.
other 2 cats are young, 40, 31 and 38.
And that's benefiting them really well to be able to be around older men who are able to just impart on them, right? And then
And I
you
mean,
get their
shit,
youthful
dog.
exuberance and all that, right?
3 of us are married, one of us is divorced, and
Yeah.
fuck the one dude was down on his luck, and we fucking talking to him about marriage, and it's just, dog, it's just so much stuff, man. Like I
Beautiful
think, like
thing.
I tell people, man, like I've cried 3 or 4 times this year because I fucked up so bad.
Wow.
Okay. And
Wow.
like I'm 53 and I ain't take no losses.